It was something coming through the door. The whispered tears, yours or mine, but pain it will only find. Wounds and wisdom, body and soul, a lifetime journey into the unknown, a broken crown, only to close my eyes, turning around in me. Slow motion death, a caravan of ghost stars falling as we watch the moon fade. Bones and wisdom, body and soul, a lifetime journey into the unknown, a broken crown. I feel the river water washing me. All the beautiful things can't be free. In the distance I see the sun clinging to the last day. Wounds and wisdom, body and soul, a lifetime journey into the unknown, a broken crown. No pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. It was a beautiful war of flesh and bone against spirit and consciousness. The eternal you of memories in motion, to live once more and to die once more. Wounds and wisdom, body and soul, a lifetime journey into the unknown, a broken crown. Body and soul, a lifetime journey into the unknown, a broken crown.
Nicht so ein frohes Weihnachtsfest für all die sich schlecht benehmenden Kinder. Bald in meinem Korb, dann in den Sarg.
It's Christmas time and all seems fine. You spent the year without fear. Misbehaved and mistreated others. He comes for you, sisters and brothers.
Jingle bell time is a swell time for Krampus to spend the night. You'll be hiding filled with fright. Your Krampus is punishing delight. Die Zeit der Weihnachtslieder ist eine tolle Zeit für den Krampus, um die Nacht zu verbringen. Du wirst dich voller Angst verstecken. Du bist Krampus, strafende Freude.
Lashing his chains and jingling the bell. He's come to take you to hell. Too late to repent, your tears are spent. Krampus comes calling for mercy, you belong. Beaten with branches and sticks, 'cause you chose to play tricks. Joke's on you, you selfish fool. Now what's left is a dreadful mess.
Jingle bell time is a swell time for Krampus to spend the night. You'll be hiding filled with fright. Your Krampus is punishing delight. Die Zeit der Weihnachtslieder ist eine tolle Zeit für den Krampus, um die Nacht zu verbringen. Du wirst dich voller Angst verstecken. Du bist Krampus, strafende Freude.
Into the basket you'll go, taken in the snow. Tears you'll cry and pain you'll sow. No one can save you, not that anyone should. I wouldn't even if I could. Should have been better, should have behaved. Now you're the one no one can save.
Jingle bell time is a swell time for Krampus to spend the night. You'll be hiding filled with fright. Your Krampus is punishing delight. Die Zeit der Weihnachtslieder ist eine tolle Zeit für den Krampus, um die Nacht zu verbringen. Du wirst dich voller Angst verstecken. Du bist Krampus strafende Freude. Gute Nacht an alle, die gedient haben. Seien sie im kommenden Jahr gut gelaunt. Oder ich werde dich nicht sehen.
Mis hijos. Mamá les ama. Mamá les encontrará y traerá a casa nuevamente para que podamos estar juntos para siempre.
Nicht so ein frohes Weihnachtsfest für all die sich schlecht benehmenden Kinder. Bald in meinem Korb dann in den Sarg.
It's Christmas time, and all seems fine. You spent the year without fear, misbehaved and mistreated others. He comes for you, brothers and sisters.
Jingle bell time is a swell time for Krampus to spend the night. You'll be hiding filled with fright. Your Krampus is punishing delight.
Lashing his chains and jingling the bell, he's come to take you to hell. Too late to repent, your tears are spent. Krampus comes calling.
For mercy you'll be longing, beaten with branches and sticks, 'cause you chose to play trick. Joke's on you, you selfish fool.
Now, what's left is a dreadful mess.
Jingle bell time is a swell time for Krampus to spend the night. You'll be hiding filled with fright. Your Krampus is punishing delight.
Into the basket you'll go, taken in the snow. Tears you'll cry in pain you'll sow. No one can save you, not that anyone should. I wouldn't even if I could.
Should have been better, should I behave? Now you're the one, no one can save.
Gute Nacht an alle, die gedient haben. Seien sie im kommenden Jahr gut gelaunt, oder ich werde dich nicht sehen.
All right, folks. Welcome to PRT. Join us in the real reality. This is Josh Turner. It doesn't look too good, does it? Trying to get the picture up right here. Hang on one second, folks. Well, that's about as good as we're going to get it. I'm here at the house, and I didn't want to make the trip to the studio, so this is what we're doing here. All right. What's going on, Sage? How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing, man?
Good, man. I'm just
staying warm, you know?
Trying to make it work here.
Yeah. Make it or break it.
What's up, buddy?
Big?
How are you?
Hey,
I'm
Mr.
all right.
Richards.
I'm good. I'm fine.
Good.
Good to see you.
What's up, Sage? How you doing?
Just staying warm, enjoying this frosty December weather.
Oh, frosty.
Yeah, very frosty.
How cold is it where you guys are at? Where y'all at?
I'm up in the Pacific Northwest, and it was about, it was probably a high of 42 today, and it's going to hit a low of probably 36. We got a warm atmospheric pressure moving in through like Seattle and stuff, so it'll be nice.
Is that even below freezing?
No.
It's not below freezing just yet. Give it like a week, and we'll be hitting like 32 degrees, which is freezing in freedom numbers.
It was minus 19 degrees centigrade this morning when I got up.
Ooh.
It's got to be about minus 14 right now.
It's negative 14. So
explain to the audience what that is, because most people don't know centigrade here in the States.
It's the way that the cold and the temperature should actually be measured, where the freezing point is actually at 0 degrees, and every degree below freezing is minus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and every degree above is 1, 2, 3. So, yeah, it makes sense. I don't understand Fahrenheit. I don't know how it works. I don't know the conversion table. It's rather complicated, but that's just me.
Huh. Interesting.
So what would minus 14 be in Fahrenheit?
14 in Fahrenheit would be what? That would be, that would be somewhere around like 18 degrees, I think.
Okay.
Maybe.
Because it changes the lower it gets, right?
32 degrees is freezing in Fahrenheit.
Okay.
Yeah. It's 44 degrees here right now.
Wow.
It's pretty chilly for Texas.
We're probably... Yeah, no, it's usually like that here in Texas. It gets cold, dude. People are surprised when they move here and they think it's going to be some sunny Florida type climate. We are not Florida. It doesn't stay warm here.
Yeah, you are not the Caribbean. You are not the Gulf of America area. No. You have the high desert and a lot of lack of trees around. I mean, there might be trees around the river and everything, but
no, we got a lot of trees here. I'm in the forest.
Oh, okay.
Like we live in a forest here.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, that's the thing. Texas, people think Texas is a desert, but we're not in the desert. We're in the forest. Like right here where I'm at in the forest, but if you go east of here, it becomes like rolling hills, farmland. And then it turns into really, really thick forest from like Rockdale, where I used to live, all the way to Louisiana. It's just nothing but woods, big, tall trees, oaks and pines.
How tall of trees are we talking? Are we talking like 80-foot, 120-foot trees, like ponderosa
pine?
I mean,
like, there's some pine woods, there's like oaks, and then it turns into piney woods, and then and then there's some more oak, and it's real thick, man. And then it turns into the big thicket, which is like one of two in the country considered jungle because it's so thick.
Wow.
But we're right on the cusp of where all those trees start,
Okay.
But where I'm at, we're surrounded by two different kinds of forest. Like we're in cedar forest right now, but where the oaks and the cedars kind of clash. That's where I'm at.
Okay. Definitely makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, we have a climate here where we have the West Coast, we have west of the Cascades, and we have east of the Cascades, and then we have closer to Idaho. So we have this thing called the Cascade Curtain, and everything east of the Cascades until you get close to the foothills of the Rocky Mountains, aka Idaho, Montana, all Montana, northern Idaho. You have this thing called the Cascade Curtain, which is all the water drops on the west side, Seattle, Renton, Olympia, and all that stuff, and Tacoma, and Vancouver. And then when you go over the mountains down in like Ellensburg and Tri-Cities, Wenatchee, and all that stuff, it becomes more and more desert the more that you go over. And then it's Columbia Plateau and all that other stuff. So it's like you go from like Forks, Washington, like AK twilight, rainy weather, to dry, barren weather, sagebrush. Yeah. Pretty brutal. You can go from...
Yeah, people don't realize that part of Washington, it's not all like rainy forests and shit. I mean,
No,
Washington
there's skin
flat,
cancer area.
yeah, it turns into like a flat, ugly.
Yeah.
When you're on your way to Spokane, you'll see it. It's like a half of it, just like flat. And then there's rolling hills too, but there's farmland there.
Idaho is known for its potatoes, but we actually produce more potatoes in Washington in that farmland than all of Idaho does. And it's literally in 2 counties that they produce all that. And then in 2 other counties, they produce all of enough wheat to feed America all year.
Yeah, they grow spinach too, and they have used to have a Jolly Green Giant packing plant there.
We do, and you're talking about Quincy, Washington, where they have the Jolly Green Giant packing plant, and it's still there. A lot of spinach, a lot of broccoli, a lot of migrant workers. We have probably like 27 different varieties of apples and 15 varieties of cherries that are grown out there. Wine country, you name it, agriculture. It's cool.
Delicious.
Yeah, they used to be. Do what?
Delicious Tim Hortons.
Yeah, sorry, you love Tim Hortons, man. You love you some Tim Hortons over
there.
So gross.
Coffee. West Side is known for fish and coffee and seafood.
When you're going down the Columbia River, like to the south, it's Oregon, and to the north, it's Washington. And, it's a very, very pretty drive, and you're pretty much, when you drive down that highway going to Portland, and then you can always, I don't know, it forks off, and then you can, cross over into Washington and go to Tacoma, Seattle.
Oh, yeah.
On that road, whatever that is, it's in Oregon, and whatever that highway is. I've been on there 50 times. I can't remember the damn name of the highway.
I-5.
Yeah, I-5, and it'll take you to Portland, and you go through the Dalles, and there's cherry farms in there too.
Yeah, there's 395 you might be thinking of that takes you along the Columbia River from Portland through the Dalles, Boardman, Hermiston. If you keep on going, you'll hit Milton Freewater, Walla Walla, and then Snake River area, Idaho.
Yeah, Walla Walla, Washington.
Yeah. Famous for its prison and famous for the onions and wine country. But yeah, you hang a left at Hermiston, Umatilla, and you go into Tri-Cities, which is also wine country and like a lot of like tech, nuclear radiation. Yeah, I've lived all over the West. It's actually pretty cool.
I went all through that area in 2010. It was absolutely beautiful. I thought Oregon was one of the nicest states I'd ever been to.
It's beautiful. But there again, though, like what Sage was talking about, if you go to the east, it's not pretty. It gets kind of ugly, actually.
Yeah, we're right in the best part of it.
Yeah, there's a certain beauty to it. The Columbia River actually drops down. If you think about the geography and the geology of everything, the Columbia River actually drops down from British Columbia, from all the snowpacks and everything up there, and it drops down and it comes down through an area called Colville and Republic. And when it drops down there, it goes, and this is north of this river area is actually tribal reservation. It's the Colville Reservation is what it is, and that's actually confederated tribes. It's a bunch of tribes that came together in a compact or a confederation, and they have a reservation. So it borders this whole line, and one part is a little bit of its Spokane Reservation, other part of it's Colville Reservation. It hits the Grand Coulee Corridor, which the Grand Coulee is a big old floodplain, megalithic floodplain, super cool to read about. Happened Younger Dryas event, wiped out all life there for a good like 300, 400 years until everything moved back in. Deposited all that soil into the Willamette Valley of Oregon. Anyway, so that river goes down and it goes around, it cuts around Wenatchee, comes back down, goes down to Tri-Cities, goes to this area called Wallua Gap, which is like, I want to say 1,300 feet deep or 1,300 meters deep in one spot. And it's just this gap where all the floodwater press through during the Great Flood that happened. And then that swings back around and goes down, converges with the Snake River that goes through Idaho, very famous fishing river. Both of them are famous fishing rivers. And then that cuts straight through Oregon-Washington border, like Josh was talking about, and kicks out to the Pacific. But everything east of the Cascade Mountains, rattlesnakes, black widows, farmland, destitute, poor people. Not necessarily super poor people, but a lot of agriculture. And if you don't have a degree, you're going to be poor. Just is what it is. It's just like any other agricultural area. If you don't have a degree, you're going to be in ag or fast food. You know, just is what it is. But yeah.
So which mud flood was the Younger Dryas?
So you're talking about the glacial Lake Missoula, which the glacial Lake Missoula was okay. I don't want to be misquoted on it, but this is just from memory. There was a giant lake that there's an area called Priest River, Lake Pend area. There was a giant ice dam that formed, and it held back all this water into Missoula, Montana, and up into Canada. And the water reached the peaks of the mountains there in Missoula, Montana. You can actually see the flood marks and all the marks where it went down. And it went all the way back into Montana, probably close to the mountains there. So it was kind of contained by the Rocky Mountains, but it had its own giant lake. It had enough, I think, to like equal like 3 or 4 of the Great Lakes, enough water. It released all this water, and it did this a few times, but the biggest time was, I believe, to be the Younger Dryas event. And it released all this water, and it ripped all the land across eastern Washington, carved it. It stopped kind of, gosh, where is it? If anyone looks on a map, Ellensburg, stopped right there at Ellensburg, and it just sent all that water down into the Portland area in Willamette Valley, and it deposited all that soil in Willamette Valley. It carried giant boulders so big as a 2-story house all the way down south of Portland near Salem, Oregon. That's how powerful the water was.
So the highway, Sage, is 84.
Highway 84? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, because I was in LeGrand the last time I was down there. I was visiting my friend's parents, one of my best friend's parents, and I stayed with them in LeGrand, and then we left our stuff there in LeGrand, and we drove to Portland. Mm-hmm. And then we were going to do a little stuff in Portland, but it's full of communists, so we decided to go to Seattle, where there's less communists and just, crazy people.
Yeah, the last time I was in Portland was during the riot season. Mm-hmm. And it was during the riot season. My wife and I watched a cop stare directly at a homeless lady, drop her underwear, squat up against a building, and pee right on the sidewalk. And the cop didn't do anything about it. That happens every day here.
That's every day.
Yeah. Insane. Insane. Around here, like in certain parts of Washington, you're liable for the cops to send you to jail with a black eye for that. In some of the more Republican counties.
So did you see what Conrad just said? That's Conrad right there. Look at what he just said, Richard. That's right. That's aimed right at you, bro.
Yeah, well, you know what? You and your historical narrative can go back to university and get indoctrinated with nonsense and baloney and BS.
You don't know that Conrad.
It's all kife. It's all kife. It's all bullshit. Guys, nothing is real. Nothing these evil people teach you is real. Not a mother-loving thing.
Conrad, you need to jump on and challenge.
Jump on, please, Conrad.
So, I don't know if you're familiar with this, Josh, but have you heard of the ancient one? The Kennewick Man?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the Kennewick Man was found right on the side of the river between Kennewick and Richland, Washington. I actually lived down there for a little bit. There's a trail, Columbia Park Trail, and this Mormon guy, this Latter-day Saint guy, actually got to meet this guy. He was just walking along, and he walked down the river, just so happened to walk down the river that way, and he saw this thing on the riverbank, and it looked like a bone, and he's like, hey, man, there's a skeleton here. So he went and called the sheriffs, and the sheriffs came out, and they looked at it. They're like, yo, this isn't a fresh death. This seems old. So they started calling up people from different universities and stuff, and then they started calling the tribes. I don't know what the end result of it was. I mean, I do. They said it's tribal member. It's buried. My cousin's actually a tribal member of where it's buried at. It's buried up on the Colville Reservation up there. I want to say it's buried near Mount Moses, but not sure. Is what it is. It isn't really my business. But probably around 9,000 years old is what they dated this the skeleton to being. So it was one of the first people to return to that land after the flood, which is super cool. But yeah,
Amazing.
Yeah, amazing. When you think about it, amazing. And then we have one of the oldest archaeological sites in America that was just found over in Oregon, in the desert of Oregon, in the southeast of Oregon.
It's not really fair to call it desert. I just drove through there a few years ago. It's not a desert, man. It's just not, not as forested as the rest of Oregon, but it's not a desert.
Pretty barren.
It is barren.
Yeah, it's pretty barren. Eastern Oregon, like southeast, like going down towards Utah, it's northeast California. Yeah. It's pretty barren. Like when you go over to Portland is pretty treed, like the Dalles and all that stuff. Along the river, it's very, very treed. You are correct. But when you go into the land, it's barren.
For sure.
Yeah.
And two different kinds of people, too. The people that live in the nice, pretty area, but that's not where the agriculture is. The people that have the ranches and the farms and stuff that actually kind of keep the state going. Those people, they all live in the east.
Yeah. All the hard up people live out in the east, and we're kind of rugged people. We're salt of the earth, but kind, humble people. But we're kind of rugged people.
Well, LeGrand is actually pretty. It's got mountains all the way around it. Like out of LeGrand unless you drive through the mountains.
Yeah. There was actually an old sanitarium down there that was haunted that my brother and I witnessed a ghost up in the window. My former stepdad and his best friend used to party it up there in the old sanitarium / hotel area back before it burnt down. And this burnt down probably, I want to say like 2008, 2009. It finally burned down. But it was pretty haunted. Not going to lie. I saw something up in the window. We stopped to just look at it because they wanted to show us it as kids. And we didn't walk into it, but we looked up in the window, and there was this white figure up in the window for sure. Yeah.
Thank you for that donation, been YouTubing. Appreciate it.
I think you've been YouTubing.
Says, spent Sunday morning watching the members only category. I love Wolf storytelling, even if it's a boring subject. He keeps it interesting and actually keeps my attention. Love you all. PRT, happy holidays. Thank you.
Yeah. So, Monica, have you ever been up in like Eastern Washington, Oregon area?
Oh, yeah. I grew up in Northern California, and I was in Oregon every summer growing up.
Okay,
and
cool.
I spent a lot of time researching out in Washington and Northern California, Oregon. But I don't like going to the eastern part of either of those states, Washington or Oregon, just because it's so dry and hot. I live in Texas. I got enough dry and hot. I'm out here for the cool coast.
It's pretty dry. It's very dry, like,
and it's very dry. When I was back in my roundup, way back in the day, it was so freaking hot.
Where Monica, where you live, is like nothing but prairie. Like it's just
I'm in the northern Blacklands prairie.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like where I live, it's
and
forest.
Gross.
I have a friend in Amarillo.
Oh.
And my uncle lives closer to Albuquerque, New Mexico, so I'm familiar with the area.
I was just telling Sage where I live. It's forest. Austin is just an arboreal forest, and then to the east of here, and then if you go further west, but you have to go a little ways. It starts turning into ranch and farmland again. Yeah, but right here where I'm at, there are ranches, but it's like that's all you can do. There is no farmland right here where I'm at. But if you go 26 miles northeast, there's a ton of farmland. You know,
the hill country is beautiful.
Yeah, the hill country is wonderful.
Yeah, and you know what is pretty that I was surprised this summer? I went down to the Frio River down in Leakey and Concan. And it is beautiful. I didn't expect it to be as pretty as it was.
Real pretty.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. If you go down there and you go down to Guadalupe, that area too is just absolutely Comal. We go down the Comal and the Guadalupe rivers.
I've been on the Comal.
It's nice.
And I've been through the Guadalupe, like south of the dam.
Yeah.
But yeah,
why'd you go there?
Frio, because when I went on the Comal, my husband was hyping it up like it's the prettiest, clearest water.
No, it's not.
The nastiest crap.
What is he talking about?
Tepid bath water in it.
Wait a minute, Chris said that?
Yes.
I think you said this before. Did he? When was it? Why did he take you to that side of it? I don't understand.
I don't know, but I was upset by the end of the 8-hour trek through the tepid bathwater with 800 people. I don't know.
Were you there in the summertime or something?
Yes.
Okay.
I was expecting cool, clear water. I was upset. The Frio River is actually cold. Well,
yeah, it is. That's why it's called the Frio. Yeah.
And it's clear. So,
yeah.
That lived up.
But the Frio did not. Hey, Maddie, you want to come here for a minute?
Now see clear water.
Mm-hmm.
Crater Lake. Oregon.
Oh yeah, I've been. Oh, it's beautiful. Like
crystal clear water. You can see to the bottom of that. You guys can go down and hike down there and go swimming.
Let people know that hold on, guys. Hold on. Let them know that you're not a hostage.
Yeah, Maddie.
I am not being held here against my will.
Are you sure?
Yeah, that's exactly what a hostage would say.
Yeah, it sounds.
Did you scrub the floor?
Yes, master. Yes.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
That's right.
Master, that's right.
Indenture.
You can have your pack of saltine crackers tonight.
These people. What did they say? You were being held. What did they say?
Oh, that I tried to leave and you threatened me or something, and I'm just scared of you, and that's why.
Oh my.
Yeah, backhand.
No, mommy, no.
No, mommy, no.
Mommy, no, mommy.
Okay, I got one for you. You guys want to laugh? Here's one. There was a whole bunch of them. I couldn't. This one was just. It knocked my socks off right here.
Do it.
This woman here says, Josh doesn't believe in Christ with question
marks,
right? Then that crazy lady, Shell Kaka, whatever her name is, she says, this is what she said. Sage, you and Rich are going to laugh at this. She said, he says they're Christians, yet doesn't believe in the Bible or that Jesus existed as God's son.
Oh, wow.
And didn't die on the cross. Says it's all, get this, she says that I said it's all made up, and the worst of it, God didn't make us and he has no idea where we go when we die. Sound Christian to you? Like that's what she says.
I don't remember saying any of that.
I don't remember you saying any of that.
Wow. Where did they come up with this? This is crazy, dude. Listen to this. So then the other woman says, get this, guys. Check this out, Monica. She says, Josh Turner is the P. Diddy of the cryptid community, at least in the corruption department, the harassment, the lies, the scheming. He's the same conflicted psycho that Diddy is. And Maddie is scared of him, so she's going to say whatever. He goes after kids, doesn't care that he's doing more damage by his lies to the children than the adults he's after. He's sick. Just saying on that note, they are so delusional. And then the other woman who said all that stuff about Jesus says, absolutely. What planet do these people, what are you talking about? Like what?
They're from Methistan.
Shell Kaka, dude, man, you keep on with that. Keep on with that, lady, because when you get called to court, don't ask why.
Yeah, Methanese from Methistan.
Woo, these people got
Methistan.
Can y'all believe that? So, Richard, you've been rolling with me for a long time. Sage, I don't know how long you've been rolling with me. Monica, you've been rolling for a couple of years at least. Have y'all ever heard me say any kind of nonsense like that? That Jesus isn't God's son?
No.
Quite the opposite.
He didn't die on the cross. Like what? These people just say that is the biggest defamation, slander.
See, I have the same view of the Bible that you do. I think everything up until when they were put in captivity, or rather Moses and the 10 Commandments, up until then, was taken in loose translation from Sumerian and older civilizations. After the tribe, and it wasn't even a kingdom, it was a tribe, hit Israel and settled Jerusalem around, the whole Holy Land. took the Holy Land from the Canaanites. I think that everything after that is the history of the Jews. And then there's the whole Apocrypha that's between the Old Testament and the New Testament. And then there's the New Testament. But everything before that, it's hard to look the other direction that Genesis and part of Exodus are not taken from older civilizations. It's hard to look the other direction.
Yeah,
it just is. When you start looking at stuff and you look at Sumer and even Far East civilizations, even India and stuff like that, even African traditions, it's hard to look the other direction. And you got to be stupid, blind, and just willfully ignorant to look the other direction.
That's if you believe the timelines, though.
Yeah, that's
the problem is I don't read the Bible correctly because I can't speak English correctly.
Damn.
And the major problem is I'm too busy attacking women and children.
Damn.
Well, then stop it.
So if I could get my priorities in line,
we have audio books so you can listen to the Bible while rolling between assaults.
Just to be clear, you aren't ordered to take a psychological evaluation.
No speaking in English.
Okay. Core order to go see a psychologist.
You can get it. If you really want it, you can get it. You can do it.
I'm the P. Diddy of the paranormal community.
Yeah, look up the Scorby Bible on the spoken word Scorby Bible on YouTube.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
I want to read that.
I believe it's the true history of the world. I just believe that a lot of it's been misinterpreted and that people aren't actually reading the Bible correctly. I'm not saying I'm reading the Bible 100% correctly either, but I don't believe any of these stupid timelines that they give us. I believe that all their bullshit nonsense in the universities that they teach us about history is to disprove the truth of the history that the Bible teaches us, and that that's all the actual history, and that the rest of it's all bunk and garbage. That's me. Who am I?
It's valid. It's a valid point of view. It's better than anal knockies.
I'm gonna keep with my schemes.
Knockies, mommy.
My scheming can't stop, won't stop.
Is Monica filled in with the no, mommy, no?
I don't think so. I don't think Monica knows what that is.
Oh man.
Know the movie it comes from.
No. I don't think you know this movie.
No, I'll fill you in real quick here. Give you the quick lickety split update here. So the guy up in Oklahoma got caught hoaxing again, and he said that there was a demon that was whispering to him, and he would take the phone. I guess he has a phone or whatever. Just takes it away from him and says, "No, mommy, no."
I don't doubt for a second there was a demon whispering to him, bro.
The demon was saying, "Christian," and we're like, dude.
Oh yeah, that's fake. But I don't doubt.
You're not a Christian, and second of all, there was nobody whispering but him.
So we run with this whole "no, mommy, no" thing because it's hilarious when you stop and think about it. It's absolutely hilarious.
That's
so
a whole
weird. Another level of.
Yeah,
somebody else. The level of crazy. Yes, we know it is legitimately these people. That dude, and it's my opinion, my personal opinion. Him in particular, he needs to be locked up. And I'm saying this because he needs to be away from people, because he runs around with a weapon, and he is claiming now that people are stalking him out there where he goes boots on the ground, which is just right down the road from his house. But he's claiming that these people are stalking him and that they're after him. And
I got something to say about that. Is nobody else allowed to use that free government land? Like nobody else is allowed to be out there? Is that his dig?
All I know is it was in the Newata County paper or something. Yeah. Did y'all see that?
I saw something about that.
This is crazy. I think we got it. Let me see.
I have a confession to make. It was me. I walked down to Newata County and
passport and all.
No,
immunizations for going on the res.
Jump the border, yeah.
You're a foreign country.
Yeah, astral projected. Yeah,
astral projected. Astral projection. Like the end cat riding the toaster.
Puts the ass in astral projection.
There you go.
Doing those squats.
Yeah. So this is crazy right here. So he says that This guy says that this was him. Some car, I'm not going to show the car. Well, it's, you know what? The license plate's blocked out. But there's a car he took a picture of and said that it was stalking him. So it ended up in the Nowata County, whatever, news. I don't really know a whole lot about this, but I saw it on
some
there.
Facebook classified free speech group.
Wouldn't the
So
car be behind him if it was stalking him?
That's what I was
yeah,
One would think.
weird.
One would
Here's
think.
what this woman. Hey, check it out. This woman, Taylor Wellinghoff, she says it on there. She says, "Pretty sure that's my friend's car, who is a veteran and certainly no stalker." She says this dude needs to realize he can't just be paranoid and blast people on social media. She's talking about Ike. Dude needs a reality check and to lay off the stimulants or whatever is causing this. Laugh out loud.
Amazing.
She says, "Edit, just check this dude. Just check this dude's YouTube out. He definitely is going through something, and I hope he figures it out. He seems to have a problem with being honest and sees himself as a victim. Reminds me of whoever, I don't know who this guy is, Terry Davis, when he only just started to get paranoid over gang stalking. This, unfortunately, is a mental health affliction that is common." She goes on to say, "When I worked at a computer shop, I cannot tell you how many people would claim the FBI was controlling their lives and had implanted chips in them."
Well, there might be something to that, but
Well, there's no chips in his
well,
dental.
I mean,
the whole
she's basically
microchip
comparing him-
implantation thing. That's
she's
another
saying that
story.
he needs to be committed. Is basically what that
You
boils
think?
down to. Yeah, that's another story. This is what she's saying because she doesn't believe in any, and that's fine. But she's basically saying the same thing I just said, that this guy, I really think, and this is my personal opinion, he needs to be put somewhere. You can't just go around like, I mean, I don't know, man. You can't, we shouldn't have people like this. Very unhealthy to have people like this running around in our society that are afflicted with whatever the hell this guy's afflicted with, because it's so weird to me, the stuff that these people come up with. I mean, it's just bizarre, and I think it's demonic. I stand by that. I've been saying that
100%.
for the last 2.5 years. Who gets up and makes all of this shit?
Yeah, like back
Somebody-
to my point, like, is nobody else allowed to drive down a backcountry road? Nobody's allowed to go out to these public spaces, state-owned land. Nobody can be out drinking from a red Solo cup having a beer, No, nobody can sight in their rifle on a freaking Gatorade bottle, allegedly, okay? If none of this did happen, wouldn't that be like
Hold on,
paranoia,
wait.
schizophrenia,
What was that part about?
delusions?
Hold on, Sage. What are you talking about? A Gatorade? What are you talking about?
Okay, so last night, hour 1, minute 40 of a stream with him, the refrigerator, and everyone else on there. He went on to this whole story about how he was out there one night walking down the trail, and someone in his chat said, "Go another 100 yards." And he's like, "I got a bad feeling about that." So he didn't. Okay, yeah, paranoia, whatever. Anyway, so he went out there later on.
Okay, I'm
and
confused.
he walked
Hold
out
on.
to the area.
Where is this? Okay, stop. Hold on. Sorry to interrupt. What are you referring to? Where did this happen?
So he said out on his boots on the ground investigation. I don't exactly know what date it is. I do have a clip.
This was last night?
Not last night that this happened, but I think last week this happened. But he said the story last night on his stream.
Yeah.
Okay.
That
you watched that shit?
Hey man, I had to wash my skin. I had to wash my skin, okay?
Oh my God.
Like I had to scrub my skin with some pretty hard lava soap, okay?
Man, I could not. I can't look at this, dude. It is so bad. It's so bad. I can't,
Yeah. So
okay, anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Anyways, on his stream, he's telling about how he had this bad feeling. Someone told him to go 100 yards in. He didn't do it on the stream because he had this paranoid feeling. Anyways, so he went back later, and allegedly there was a piece of paracord across the trail where he would have walked into with a sharpened stake in the ground in front of him. They would have tripped onto and impaled himself. And then there's a
Wait, what?
Yeah.
So the Viet Cong was
impaled
booby traps for him?
Yeah. Yeah. There's a deer stand. There's a deer stand up in this tree
What?
that he alleges someone was shooting at a Gatorade bottle that was right by the trail that he would be walking down.
Well, that doesn't surprise me actually, because there's a lot of jerks that put hunting stands in inappropriate places in the South.
That's
yeah.
But he lives in Oklahoma. That's a lot of.
But either he could have someone could have hoaxed that themselves. Someone could have just been sighting in a little 22. Happens all the time.
It could have not happened.
Yeah,
could have not happened at all. Because
so he's hold on. So he's claiming that he got impaled.
He's claiming that he could have gotten impaled. That all this stuff was set up to hurt him, but he avoided it. He detected it with his expert skills or whatever,
he could have
avoided it.
I thought you were saying he actually got hurt.
No.
So he was humping the Ho Chi Minh Trail, and he almost came upon a Viet Cong Punjies.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, Punjabi stick.
Okay.
Yeah. So he dodged that like Laura Croft, and then noticed the sniper roost. Dodged that.
Well, Monica,
did his little somersault, ran up the wall like the Prince of Persia, and then took out the dog man up in the roost.
Yeah,
that's my TED Talk.
Wow.
But yeah, he, like just some paranoia, like going on about this stuff. And look, any person that is of solid mind, if you're being threatened and all this stuff, and someone's trying to take shots at you allegedly, someone's trying to do this, someone's trying to do that, you're not going to go back to it. Now the options are A, it never happened. B, someone's hoaxing. C, you're walking up on someone's meth shack or a pot farm or a freaking moonshine operation.
Oklahoma.
Doesn't surprise me either way. Or some other type of freaking drug operation. And there's a trailer or a tent out there going on. It happens all over.
I hope he didn't Gatorade
hysteria. Or maybe a slight chance that it did happen. But even at that, if there was something that was going to happen, there would be a vehicle parked down the freaking road. Monica, you know this whole area that up here, freaking Northern California through Eastern Washington, Eastern Oregon, up into Canada, Idaho, Montana, that's prime hunting territory.
Yeah.
Like most hunters are not going to risk losing their firearms to shoot at a crackhead.
No.
Or some person that has a sense of self-grandeur.
I would be more concerned with, and this is a legit concern, especially like in Northern California, in Humboldt, if you go off trail. I mean, since I was a child, I was told never go off trail, never go off trail.
Oh, yeah.
Because, I mean, even though it's legal, there's still illegal grow operations up there. And
100%.
They do booby trap those areas.
Fish
you
hooks,
have to know what to look for.
Fish hooks, pitfalls, deadfalls. Oh, yeah.
They do all kinds of things. And, you know, you've got to know what to look for if you're stupid enough to go off trail in Humboldt, especially.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, in Oklahoma, I would consider it more like a meth operation, potentially.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on how far out you are. Now, if this is just a trail, like a marked trail that any Joe Schmo is going to go down.
Literally a road and a marked trail, not even 100 yards off. Like,
yeah, I don't think that, you know, they psychically knew you were going to be there at that date and time.
Exactly.
And set up the tripwire with a flexible cord, because he said it was paracord.
Yeah.
And, you know, potentially trip you into, if it's a clearly marked trail, an obvious stick sticking out of the ground. Like, did they dig a hole and hide it, thinking you were going to go head first in there? Or was there just, you know, like some wire across a clearly marked trail and a big stick in the middle of the road?
Well, it sounded like it was across the trail and was a stick sticking out of the freaking trail. Pretty dumb.
Stupid.
Pretty dumb. Yeah, stupid. Literally stupid. Like, I've lived up and down the West Coast. I've lived in Medford, Oregon, Rogue River area. You know exactly where that is. Klamath Falls area, Crescent City, that whole area there. I've lived there. Weed operations happen. But they were 4 or 5 miles into the bush.
Yeah, they're pretty far. I mean, usually.
They're usually far. If the person's not trying to get busted, all this stuff is happening far. And really, like, trying to take someone out when they're on a live stream, that is the most dumbest thing I've ever heard someone try to freaking concoct.
Well,
Yeah,
Like, really? On a live stream where there's 50 people watching you?
the VC's getting sloppy.
not just that, but how
Yeah.
did they know that he was going to be there?
Exactly.
That time,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Or did they just sit in the woods hoping he happens along that trail they're on?
Thank you. Exactly. Like
I'm just double checking. You guys are talking about the
man.
guy that's live streaming right now, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Just double
What's going
checking.
on?
Conrad asking who we're talking about. Guy's live
The guy
streaming right
from
now.
The guy from Oklahoma that was claiming like half an hour ago he was seeing like eyesight or eye shine across like a little pond or something from his house or something. Like that.
Sounds like paranoia.
Oh, so he was on again tonight or what?
Well, I mean, seeing eye shine isn't like significant when you live in the woods. You're going to see it.
Yeah,
For real.
deer are everywhere.
It was a
Like, I think it
raccoon.
was it was like a raccoon or a fox or something like that. And he was saying that there's something there, and he was.
Congrats. There's wildlife around your house in the woods.
There's something there. You see that? You see that? There's something there. Mommy,
Well, guys,
no.
you know what's going to happen. You know what's going to happen. He's gonna pop up tomorrow, and he's going to have 12,000 views on that episode, and he's going to announce like he does every Tuesday. I beat Josh Turner because Monday is our slowest day. He knows that, and you know he's going to announce to the world that he's defeated me once again. I don't buy subs, dude. So of course you're going to defeat me.
Meanwhile, he has a guest on last night, and you beat him 3 ways to Sunday.
He had a guest
Right.
on last week?
Yeah. He had a feminine cleansing product on last night.
What?
D-shirt.
Oh, that guy?
Feminine cleansing.
That guy was on his show
got
again?
it. Thank you, Monica.
Yeah, but I mean, I didn't know that was him. I thought you were talking about.
Yeah,
the person
that's who he's telling the story to, and they were all like hating on CPS, the state, cops, and everything else, like doing their
when
usual
you're doing
comments.
illegal things, you tend to hate the cops. And
Yeah.
people don't enforce the laws.
Yeah. Like
What's
I
crazy
live next
is-
to a sheriff's deputy. Like I don't care. He leaves me alone. I leave him alone.
Well, Monica, you know the whole thing because I mean, you're a porcher. You're with Texas Front Porch, so Monica already knows the story. But according to him, you know, me and Krista and Nellie entered into some kind of a shadowy agreement with the state of Oklahoma to quote unquote kidnap his son. No, Hunter is home. Hunter is safe home with his mother. Anybody who
And
knows,
happy.
put that in the comment section. Hunter is home. Hashtag Hunter is home. And yeah. So yeah, this is all a bunch of BS with this guy. Anyway, anybody want to tell a story about something that's going on, something creepy? We had something creepy happen here. Thought it was kind of weird.
What happened?
What happened, dude?
Yeah, what happened?
Well, we have this little miniature Christmas tree, and yesterday Tony popped up and was like,
That is scary.
claiming that it was moving. Yeah, but then later when Nellie asked about it, and I think he's trying to not scare her or something, but I told him, I said, it's not going to scare her, to tell her, you know, but he's trying to be nice about it because there have been a few things that have happened here, but it's nothing like the other house we were living in or the one that, you know, my brother's writing about. It was just weird because, okay, so there's a weird phenomenon that happens around December, and I have gotten, I'd say probably maybe over 2 dozen stories over the years, but it's nothing big. Like I only got maybe one where it was just really bad, but it's just little stuff here and there that people notice, and they'll tell you about it. And I don't know. I call it the Christmas ghost phenomena because I don't know what to call it, but
yeah, that Christmas spirit. Yeah, it's a real thing.
Well, people.
It's a real thing.
People will report that their Christmas trees get messed with,
Mhm.
and that their decorations will get pulled down and stuff. And we had that happen in our bedroom. We had a bunch of Christmas lights up because Nellie likes it and I like it, and it looks, you know, cool. And so we have a bunch of lights in here right now, and you know, and so, you know, we put hooks up and everything, but only in our bedroom it fell. And we put them up, we put them back up, and it fell again. And then last night when me and Anthony and Tony were in here talking, and Maddie was here too, we heard like this loud clap. And we don't know where it came from. And it just sounded like And we're all sitting here. I don't know where we don't know where it came from. My brother was right there. We were all right here. And so everybody was just kind of like stunned for a minute. I don't know what the hell that was. I couldn't tell you. And then later we heard a thud. And like, I don't know what it was. But the Christmas tree moved on its own. I didn't see it. I didn't see that. So I can't say that happened to me because I didn't see it. But Tony saw it. But then he said that, oh, it must have been the cats. Like he was trying to. And I told him, I said, you're not, it's not going to bother you, but, bother Nellie. She's had some things going on. So he's trying to be, so she doesn't have to get stressed out. And I told him, I said, you don't have to do that. I mean, she's dealt with a lot of stuff. The thing is, she hasn't told everybody in this house the kind of stuff that went on. They know what I've told them, in private, which isn't all of it. And they know what I've talked about on the show, but nobody asked, so I didn't bother to tell. But we start comparing notes, and then you realize that there is a lot of weird stuff that's happened. And yeah, and it's more than the average person, would say, hey, but I think it's because we notice it. Having a show about this stuff, you notice it. And, whenever somebody will send you a story about this weird stuff, it kind of brings it to the forefront for you, So, that's what I think. And I don't know. I can't tell you. I haven't seen, like, when I'm sitting here doing the show, I haven't seen like shadow people walking around, like I did in the other place. I would see stuff literally walking while I was doing the show. So that's a weird thing.
Well, you just brought in a natural
What's going on,
tree,
man?
correct?
So do you know where Sorry, go on.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, do you know where why the Bible says not to put up a Christmas tree? Where the Christmas tree comes from?
Well, I know where it comes from, but you're going to tell me the Bible literally says that.
Yeah, the Bible says not to cut down an evergreen from the forest like the pagans do and secure it with a nail and blah, 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 and bring it into your house. Somebody can look up the scripture. I can't quote it off the top of my head. I can look it up in like 2 seconds, but I'd probably have to jump out of chat for a minute.
What if you have an article?
Yeah, go look it up because I've never heard that before.
All right, give me 2 seconds. I'll be right back.
Yeah, Randy says the same thing. Never heard that. Randy, I'm with you, man. I've never heard that.
There is one where
Richard
it says that you shouldn't take a tree from the wilderness and decorate it and bring it into your house. There is one that says that.
What passage is it? What is it?
Yeah, where?
Gosh, give me a hot second real quick.
But it doesn't say anything about an artificial tree.
Yeah, mine's artificial. I'm all good. This is a weird thing. I want to do a show about Santa Claus sightings because I talked about this last year a little bit. Welcome to the show, Paladin. Wendy Eater, she says here, do you think that so many people believing in Santa could create a tulpa of him? Yeah, absolutely. Richard, did you find it?
Yeah, I did. Jeremiah 10.
And what Bible? Is this the Filipino
Jeremiah 10:2.
medical journal?
Yeah, Jeremiah 10:2. Anybody else have it pulled up?
Read it.
I have it pulled up.
You're going to read it correctly. We'll see what you say.
Looking up Jeremiah here.
Paladin, I like your hat, by the way. It was a good win yesterday.
Oh, yeah. Close. They keep all of them close.
They do. They drive you nuts. Cowboys do the same thing. What's going on, Richard? Tell us. Let's hear this.
Give me 2 seconds. 2 seconds here to find it.
I got it up.
2 seconds, sir.
You read it if you want, buddy.
Well, go ahead.
Hear the Lord. Hear what the Lord says to you, people of Israel. This is what the Lord says. Do not learn the ways of the nations, aka pagans. This is NIV version, just because that's what came up on Google or my link. Or be terrified by the signs in the heavens, though the nations are terrified by them. For the practices of the peoples are worthless. They cut a tree out of the forest, and a craftsman shapes it with his chisel. They adorn it. They adorn it with silver and gold, aka tinsel, They fasten it with hammer and nails, so it will not totter, aka on a stand. Like a scarecrow in a cucumber field, their idols cannot speak, ornaments, but they must be carried. Because they cannot walk, do not fear them. They can do no harm, nor can they do any good. No one is like you, Lord. You are great, and your name is mighty in power. Who should not fear you, King of the nations? This is your due. Among all wise leaders of the nations and in all their kingdoms, there is no one like you.
Amen. So the reason that it says that is in Germanic paganism, it's called the Tree of Attis, and it comes from the Attis cult. And what they were, Attis is one of the Germanic mother goddesses. So what they would do is they would have a big tree in their whatever time of year fire festival, and they would have a human sacrifice. That's where the Wicker Man, this is in connection with the Wicker Man thing. So they would burn their human sacrifice slaves inside of the Wicker Man. And then the lesser priests of Attis. So in mother goddess worship, the priestesses are always once priests. They're castrated males who do the inversion thing, the Venus Lucifer thing, where it's a man playing a woman. And so the priests of Attis and the lesser priests of Attis, which were the new generation for that year, they would get all hammered and they would get all high, and they would do their rituals, and they'd be chanting and carrying on, and they'd get all crazy in their head, and then they'd castrate themselves, and they'd fling their balls on the tree. And that's where Christmas balls that you hang from your trees come from. That's literally what the Christmas balls are.
Green Christmas.
And the reason that they're red, green, and purple and gold is because that's the color that it would be when they would fling it on the tree. And so they've just what do you think the candy cane is? What do you think the candy cane represents with white, with the bloods, with the red stripe down it? Use your imagination. You could only imagine.
Yeah, there's a few traditions that the Christmas tree is adopted from and put into European traditions. That is one of them, definitely.
They would give gifts of silver and gold to the priestess Attis.
On the tree. All right, so you got that out. Now let me explain to you the real reality.
All right.
So you're talking about an area that was way, 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 way far. They didn't interact. Now, I do believe they may have interacted way, way back. We're talking further than Graham Hancock back. Okay.
Maybe.
But I don't believe that Sumeria had any interactions with Germanic tribes. I don't believe that. Now, anything that has to do with the northern area, now, like I said, it could go back further than we could imagine. But I think it would be purely coincidental, because that is not the same thing, dude. Those are two different trees. Completely. But it's very possible. It's actually very probable that these trees and these customs and these traditions mirror one another, because just like we've talked about creatures from the prehistoric past, there is a cave hyena here in Texas that was here during the late Pleistocene era that's no longer around, supposedly. But get this, it looked like a hyena, was built like a hyena, but was not a hyena. It was not related to the hyena, right? So what you would be talking about would be something from ancient Sumeria that would have bled over into Egypt and all these other cultures that the ancient Israelites would have carried with them into the land of Canaan, because they're originally from Canaan. So they ended up in Egypt, and they had all these different mishmash of tradition. Here's the thing that I can tell you about who and what they were. The word Hebrew, and that's where they come from. They say that they're Hebrew. It was Hebron, and the word Hebron meant outlander, outsider, or outlaw. As time went on, it began to take on connotations of like a lot of unlawfulness. They were rowdy, unruly, unwashed masses of people who were immigrants that had come to Egypt to work and get jobs and had taken over entire regions of the country, and they had to get rid of them. It is interesting that in the book of Exodus, it says that God hardened the heart of Pharaoh to make them stay there. Why would he do that? See, that's where it starts to get kind of weird, because later Jesus actually talks about, why would you if your father loves you, why would he give you serpents to eat, when they're crying about the manna? I mean, it starts to get kind of weird, because Jesus is basically indicting who they believe as God.
Yeah, it's Baal, it's Saturn, it's Remphan, it's Chiron.
And so who they're worshiping is this other God, and they're believing in that. The priesthood fell into doing whatever it was for themselves, not for the true living God, the Father of Christ. And when Jesus goes to the Pharisees, he tells them, he says, your father is not my father. Yeah. I mean, that's a big indictment. He's basically telling them, he says, your father is the Shaitan, and you're of the synagogue of Satan. And he tells them that that's what you are. That's your father. That's who you are. And he also goes on to talk about how, he was a murderer and liar and whatever. I mean, it depends on which book you read, but it's an indictment on that entire group of people. And his reward for standing up to them was that he was killed. Now, when the old way was done away, right, there was a new way and a new covenant. And these people are liars that try to say that that's not true. And so then you end up with this weird, mishmash of whatever this is, and a rewriting of the Bible and history and everybody and everything else. But you cannot find a person over the age of 55 that'll believe a lick of what I'm saying right now. They will not believe in a new covenant, because, in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, the internet changed everything, because they could not control the internet to keep up this bullshit that they try to peddle every time and say, the Romans did it. The Romans did it. Well, no, the Romans did it at your behest. And they have crucified him over and over again in Hollywood and politics and the media. Everywhere you look, they brag about how they took Jesus out of Christmas songs. I mean, it's just the truth. I mean, when you stop and you look at this and where we're at right now, and we're still fighting about it, and it's still going to keep going. And it's easy to look at the low-hanging fruit and say, okay, communism is bad. Yeah, obviously anybody knows the F in communism stands for food. Or you can say Islam is bad. Islam, they do all these horrible things. Well, yeah, it's pretty damn obvious. You can look at these people and look and see that this is not correct. I mean, it's not hard. But the stumbling block comes when people say, well, I'm a Judeo-Christian. No, you're not.
That's ridiculous.
You're either a Christian or you're Jewish. You can't be both. And they say, well, we've hitched our wagon to that. Says who? Says the people that wrote the Schofield Bible back in the 1800s, right? Now, if you're a Conrad person, you're going to say, that was just history from the 1800s. If you're a Richard person, you're going to say, it's not history from the 1800s. It was all covered up with mud.
More than once.
You're going to say, I kind of agree with Conrad. I get kind of tired of the whole chart, because part of what he says.
You notice how I don't say Tartaria, though, because I think that the big Tartaria thing, I don't believe it is Tartaria. I believe it's the remnants of the Roman Empire. But that's my perspective.
But here's the thing. If you're looking at this, if you could say, hey, you got it all wrong or whatever. I don't think either one of you or anybody has got it all wrong. I think that we're just missing puzzle. We have a puzzle, and we've all pulled it out like a family on game night, right?
Who runs those universities that teach us all of this nonsense? Who runs those universities? Who are the historians? Who control the history departments? Who are the ones who have written down the narrative? Exactly, Paladin. Paladin knows. Yeah, it's the people we were just discussing. Those evil, the ones that Christ called the murderers and liars. So
yeah, and then I think a lot of it too is based on. It's easy for people to go, well, they're the good guys because they look like, some of them look like they're white people living out in the middle of the desert, you know, and you're going like, well, how did this happen? It's because they're not from there. Genetically, they're not. It's the truth. I mean, you know, you can spit it, twist it, turn it a million different ways, you know. Yeah, and here you go. Christian is a derogatory. They've turned Christianity on its ear and made it into something that it's not. And whenever you try to speak up and tell the truth, they go after you. They don't believe in our Messiah. That's a problem. Why is that so hard for people to understand? You know, they literally say that their Messiah is coming. You know? But anyway.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, they think that our Messiah or Christ is in hell boiling in a vat of human excrement.
Yep. And that his mother was a whore.
Yep.
The Virgin
Mary by some Roman
soldier, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. People need to go read the Talmud. If they're going to go out on their own way to defend a culture that they don't even know about, go read the Talmud. That's my challenge. Before someone comes at PRT, go read the Talmud.
Most people are just mud puddle deep, man. They don't care to take that extra step and do their.
They don't want to bathe in the mud flood.
39 Sean Man says, so Christmas trees are still okay. I think they're still okay. I can't tell you that you're not going to go to hell. You know?
I didn't say that. I'm just
taking my chances here. Okay, I'm saying I got a little Christmas tree and a big Christmas tree.
Next time you're hanging balls on the Christmas tree, just remember where they came from. That's all I'm saying.
How do you know I'm hanging balls? How do you know it's not human flesh and I'm festooning my bedchamber with intestines of my victims? You don't know that. I'm the ladybird killer of the lake or whatever the hell these people have claimed.
You don't put your victims in your house. You put them in the lake. That's why it's Ladybird Lake Killer.
Because I got so much time to go hang out and drink in clubs and run around doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's right.
Your part-time job as a go-go dancer. It's a Buffett's go-go dancer in Austin.
What the hell is the name of that club that they said I hang out at? The Iron Bear.
The Iron Horse.
Catch me at the Iron Bear, folks. They have this whole little narrative that only they believe in, and they're like, he hangs out at the Iron Bear and he dances around, and you know, and old Lion Larry says he's smothering gay men.
Yeah, and the Germanic iteration of that is Attis worship. All of this satanic worship across the cultures is all the cultural iterations of the same nonsense. It's literally the same thing, copy paste, copy paste, copy paste in every single culture, from German to Sumerian to whatever. It's just a copy and paste because the author of it all is in it. That's all he can do is copy paste, cultural iteration.
So Josh, I got to address an elephant in the room here real quick.
You're really bringing people down here. Christmas is Christmas, okay? You live in a pagan land run by a bunch of people from another pagan land, and you have a bunch of whatever communists up there. So don't talk to us normal people in a normal country about our traditions.
You have your Merry Tammuz Nimrodmas and celebrate your Roman pagan fire festival. And that's all I'll say.
So I got to address the elephant in the room here. I think all these people that are accusing Josh of being at this bar, I think they want to be at a bar called the Titanium Boar. Underneath those hot lights, all sweaty, oiled up, listen to those beats. And I think they want to be smothered by some big, beefy men. I think that's why they talk about it so much. I think and this is just my opinion, they want to be smothered by big, beefy men. And they just can't stop thinking about it. No heterosexual man should be talking about this on a Facebook group that is the Brotherhood of the Wolfies, that a bunch of men go into the land between the lakes, all men, all older 50-plus-year-old men, and go and hang out.
That is weird.
It's weird, and then they come back with this story about big beefy men grinding up on each other in a bar.
Okay, beyond all of that, though, Sage, Sage, beyond all of that, though, what grown man who wants to be taken seriously as an author or a researcher wakes up every day and runs to his phone and posts about another man? Who does
someone
that?
that someone that has some deep-seated feelings that they haven't reconciled about you?
And he's got a lot of time on his hands too. It means you don't work.
Look, in my opinion, I think the guy has more than just hate for you. I think he has. I think he has. Hey, this isn't a reflection on Monica or anything, because I know she's friends with a lot of people in the community, or anyone else in the community. This is just a matter of opinion. I think this person has some feelings that he doesn't know how to get out because he grew up in a culture in the 70s and 80s and 60s where that wasn't okay in the Kentucky, Indiana culture, the backwoods culture.
Why would I be offended by?
Like,
no offense to Monica. Why is that? Why would that be offensive?
No, I just don't want anyone to target you from any of these groups.
I don't care.
You saying this. We know how these people are, Monica.
Targeted before?
Oh, I know you've been targeted before. I'm gonna get targeted. But yeah, like it's just something I gotta say. Like, I think these people have some unresolved feelings, and I don't think it's exactly hate. I think it comes out as hate because they don't know how to deal with it.
I mean, it's a group of people I have literally never heard of before. If they've got to talk shit on their own to feel better about themselves, I'm not going to. I don't know who they are. I don't listen to it. So they're talking.
Good for you. I respect that.
No, you do. You know who they are.
I know their names, but I genuinely, before I started interacting, I didn't know who.
There's nobody's in your life. They're literally nobody's in your life. They're just little pests.
No, it's not even worth it. So what do we got going on here? Paladin, what you got for us, man?
Well, since I got on and tried to join the group, my family's been calling me and just driving me crazy. So I don't want to jet, but I at least want to say why I came on. I've got a couple of ghost stories and just came on to share, and I think that'd be interesting. And I mean, I consider you to be not an authority, but I mean, you probably know what I ran into these two different times, and I wanted to run it by you on the air because I'm not shy. Just wanted to. I mean, should I go over it real quick or save it for another show?
Yeah, of course.
Because I thought, well, they're not talking about ghosts and all this other stuff. All right, this is like 2006, 2007. The first one, I'm staying at a guy's house, and at the time, he was letting me stay there. I was a waiter. It was like 20 years ago, 2006, 19 years ago. There were some episodes that happened in his house. His house wasn't really well kept. His parents. This is in McAllen, Texas, by the way. I'm way down there.
Not in the RGV.
It's not really well kept. And, yeah, the RGV. Along the river, just north of the military highway, about maybe 15 miles. He had told me, while I was staying there, there's a ghost in the house. Don't freak out if you run across it. Okay, fine. I mean, I'm not scared of much, because guys, don't take this wrong, please. But I am the lion in this jungle, So anyway, I'm asleep one night, and I'm on the living room floor. At the time, I slept on the floor. And that's just the way I did things back then. Didn't even have a car. I ride back and forth on a mountain bike, back and forth to wait tables. Anyhow, I'm down there in the floor, and everybody's asleep. His kids are asleep in the room with the fan on. And all of a sudden, I start hearing these noises in the house. And it's keeping me up, and I got to go to work the next day. So, I try to ignore it, and then all of a sudden, it's still going on. So I go back to his bedroom, and I tell him, hey, bro, that thing you told me about, it's in there. It's keeping me up. It's making noises. He goes, oh, just don't worry about it. Leave it alone. Just ignore it. It'll go away. So, I go, like, all right. Walk back in there, get back in the bed, get on the floor, cover up my head on the pillow, and here we go again. I start hearing these noises, like somebody sitting on the couch across from me, kind of like following, moving around on the couch. So I'm like... So I get up and I go in there again. I tell him, look, it's still in there. It's still making noises. So he says, just tell it to leave you alone. It'll go away. I'm like, all right. And I'm a nice guy. I try to be nice and cordial and everything. But I'm going to be honest. I was raised by a drill sergeant, so my fuse is getting short. I need to go to bed. I got to get up at 7 in the morning. Right? So I go back in there. I lay down to go to sleep, and it starts up again. So I just rise up off the floor, and I don't even look at it. I just say, look, you're pissing me off. I need to go to sleep. And if you don't shut the hell up, I'm going to make you wish you never were here. I'll get run out of this house if I need to, but you need to stop. So shut the hell up and let me sleep. It never made a peep the rest of the night. Okay, let's fast forward about a month. I'm still in that same house. Everything's good. You know, we didn't mention anything about it the next morning because this guy, he's kind of to himself. And this is where it got really, really bad. And now his house, this guy had a little brother when they were growing up. And right now we're in our 30s at the time, back in 06. He had a little brother that was into Satan worship. And there was like things drawn in certain areas of the house on the wall, like the garage wall, the bedroom where the guy was sleeping in. It had like helter-skelter, upside-down crosses, all kind of horrible demonic depictions in that closet. And he's not really a big clean stickler, so he never kept that house up. I'm laying there one night. The kids are sleeping in the far back room, and he's in the front bedroom. I'm in the floor on the living room, and this house is like, you know, it's horrible. I mean, he's got stuff piled up in there where there's like just trails going from one room to the next. You can't just have the lights off and go walking around on the couch across the room. You'll bust your ass. So all of a sudden, in the middle of the night, I swear I hear this dog, like a rat, wolf, or dog, towards the door of his bedroom, just growling and just really loud. And I'm in sleep paralysis. It wakes me up, but I can't open my eyes and I can't move. And then, of course, I mean, I don't know if you believe this or not, but I bust through. You know, my buddy's in trouble. I'm going to go help him, and this is not going to keep me down. So I busted through the sleep paralysis, got on my feet, but I couldn't open my eyes, and I couldn't gain consciousness all the way. But I'm going to this room, walking as this dog is getting louder and louder. And then I start making my own dog noises, because I've been known to crawl inside of dogs' heads, cats' heads. I'm not too good with birds. Don't trust them. But I'm going toward this dog that's threatening my friend. It sounds like he's going to bite him or something. God knows how the dog's in the house or whatever. Right now, I'm just thinking, help your buddy, right? So the dog's getting louder, and then I'm getting louder. And the dog's getting louder, and I'm getting louder. And just to give you a little taste, as I'm going to the door, I'm hearing the dog. And while I'm in this sleep paralysis, up on my feet, trying to see where I'm going in the darkness, walking through these little paths, you know, and trying to get there. Because, I mean, as soon as I get there, what I'm thinking is that little crack in my eyelids, I'm going to use it to grab it, and bones are going to break. There's going to be a dog screaming, and my buddy's going to be rescued, right? So, I mean, of course, deep down, I know it's something spiritual. But anyhow, I'm going towards the door. I almost get there, and as I'm approaching, the dog gets louder, and I get louder, kind of like I'm making my own dog noises. And I mean, as I get to the door, I made another loud noise and stepped through the door. And as soon as I stepped through the door, which didn't have a door on it, it was a door frame. He's there in the darkness, and I step through the door, and I gain consciousness. And I look around, and I don't see this thing. I don't see the dog. I don't see anything. He's up on he gets up on his elbow, and he's not real responsive. I mean, sometimes I wanted to give him he doesn't answer. He doesn't communicate real well. But I asked him, hey, dude, where's that dog that was in here? He's like, what dog? What are you talking about? I said, well, the dog that was raising hell in the door, you know, that I come to get it out of here because I don't know how it got in the house or nothing, but you sound like you were in trouble. He goes, well, I heard the dog and I heard you, and then I heard the dog and then I heard you, and then he's sitting there on his elbow, and it's still dark. The lights are off, and I could see him through the moonlight coming in through the window, and he says, turn on the light. So I turned on the light, and I look around again. Of course, nothing there. He goes, man, you trying to scare the hell out of me, man? Give me a heart attack. I said, no, you were in trouble. Where the hell is that dog? He goes, well, it wasn't a dog. And what do you mean? He goes, well, it was like humanoid. It was dark. It was, you know, kind of tall, and I couldn't move. I was like on the bed. I couldn't get my eyes open, but I could barely see. And he was going through the same thing I did. He could barely get his eye open, but he couldn't move. He was in paralysis too. And he said that it was like a humanoid figure, like a shadow figure. It was darker than the dark in the room. and it was making that noise. And when I came behind it and stepped through it, it shut out of the door. It was gone. And then both of us gained consciousness. And I'm like, wow. I looked at him. I told him, I'm not going to say his name online, but I said, dude, that stuff you got in that closet right there, those things that are written on that wall, you need to get rid of that. You need to tear it down or paint over it. But that's why all this stuff is happening around here, because all this stuff you got in there. And that's just one of my ghost stories. I got another one about a place that I live in West Columbia, but I don't want to just hog up the airtime.
No, you're fine.
But
so did you want me to comment
story.
on that, or did you? Was that it?
And what you think, Josh? No.
I mean,
I don't know.
I think
I don't know if his brother. I don't know if his brother used a Ouija board or something, or if that was like some kind of Ouija board.
Mm-hmm.
No idea.
I don't know. I think that stuff comes and goes all the time. I
wanted to see what you thought about that. And
I can't tell you how many times.
I mean, it wasn't a dog man. It was something that.
Well, I mean, depends on what you think a dog man is. I don't know. What do you think, Abe? I mean, you have a show literally.
Well, a dog man, I would think would be kind of comparable to a werewolf. You got.
Well, he said he was in sleep paralysis, and his friend was in sleep paralysis too, at the same time. I've dealt with a succubus, so
both of us were. He was in sleep paralysis. I was in sleep paralysis.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. It's like, I mean, I think it's a little bit more deeper than what you're talking about than just sleep paralysis. But
I just
for y'all to both be seeing the same thing at the same time, that's kind of iffy, to me, because normally when you're in a state of sleep paralysis, something that you're going
I didn't get
through,
to see it.
There's something that's happening to you, directly to you, in which, things can happen, like you're saying about you're making it sound like a dog because you're hearing a dog, I got a question. When you woke up from the sleep paralysis, were you still laying down in the bed?
Oh, you're muted, Paladin.
No, the thing is when I woke up from the sleep paralysis, I didn't gain complete consciousness, but I was able.
So you're
I'm muted.
You were going from dream to dream. You're not completely awake.
You're on a lag. You're lagging about 3 seconds.
Yeah.
It wasn't. I got you. Okay, I'll answer it and then I'll say over. The sleep paralysis was affecting both of us. I was able to bust through out of sheer will and determination, but I didn't get completely through. I got to where I could crack an eye open, but I did get to my feet, and I did have use of my arms and my legs, but I didn't have total consciousness, but enough to know what I was doing and where I was going and what the objective was. And then whenever I stepped through the door, I mean, I didn't see the entity in the door, but when I stepped through the door, that's when I gained total consciousness. I could see everything, even though it was dark in the house, but I didn't get to see the entity.
I'm talking about when you finally woke up. Were you still laying in the bed, or you never woke up because you're going from dream to dream to dream to dream in the sleep paralysis?
No, I was sticking. No, it was one movement right to the doorway. When I woke up, I was in the doorway because I was already about half to 3/4 awake by the time I got through the doorway and skipped that thing off or whatever happened.
So you were like sleepwalking in a sense of a way.
I bringing it a couple of hours, that's for sure.
So you were like sleepwalking when you woke up. You was because you want to sleep in your bed. In a sense of a
way, but a little bit more conscious and awareness. Do it.
Yeah. So he was like semi-awake, walking towards the door. Pretty much.
That doesn't sound like sleep paralysis. So
that's
something else.
So I'll say what your friend has seen. I've seen these things a few times. One when I was very young in my room. 2 other times out in the wilderness. One near a shop. Oh, he disconnected. Oh, there you are. One near my father's shop and one out in the wilderness. And yeah, again, blacker than night. Is the middle of the night. You can see it clearly outlined because it's blacker than anything out there. So you saw it, you didn't. So it's definitely.
Yeah, the everybody's breaking up real bad.
Having microphone paralysis.
I don't know what's going on, if it's the stream or what.
I think everybody's on a different internet service and not everybody's syncing up.
Yeah.
Overload. Well, it's the entities. They don't want us to.
Am I breaking up too?
No,
I think it's
Could be it.
just having real issues with connection.
Well, I'm south of Dallas right now, so I should be local.
How far south?
You're up there. You're up there.
That's where I'm from. I'm from Raymondville, Texas.
Well,
That's where
maybe
I'm
it's that
originally
junk in my
from.
aura, but hey, that might be what chased off.
Did you do a cleansing of your house, brother? Did you cleanse your home? Get rid of the. Normally when I
Port
wake up
Mansfield
from
is my ground. I'm the commission catching fish on.
yeah.
Somebody
Like,
said that there's a geomagnetic storm going on. Matt Stoyanov said that it's a storm.
Oh.
No.
The answer. That was my friend's house.
Yeah, it would be happening tonight when I do my show.
So they turned tarp up, is what I'm trying to say.
Here's something weird about that.
I think it's Dana
That
Ortega
house
messing
was
with us.
destroyed 2 or 3.
She's a harpy. I mean, it makes sense. Hey, thanks.
Yeah, I'm from the Valle too, man. Originally from Raymondville, Texas.
That house was destroyed within about 2 or 3 years by hailstorm. All the houses around it survived.
Oh, somebody like it bad.
Yeah.
Who was that talking to me? The dog?
You go.
Yeah, he's lagging bad.
Yeah.
No, I don't even see myself
Mickey
on
said
there
the same
anymore.
thing was happening earlier to another show.
Hey, I'll get you guys on another episode.
Okay, Paladin, we'll see you, man.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, he's just on a something, but I guess a lot of people are complaining about it's something that's happening today, and I can see it's spinning.
Yeah, mine's glitching out.
Glitching?
Yeah, I
What's
can
up,
hardly
Bob?
hear you.
Weird.
Yeah, see, Monica, we brought you on tonight, and what happens? You mess it all up. I told you.
But I do.
That's what you do.
Cooler.
So, Monica, last night, I wanted to ask you a question while we have you on tonight. Last night, we talked about a creature that was in Kuwait. Okay. There was a guy named Oybek who gave me his story. And the heck was that? You okay, man?
Would the Christmas tree fall over?
No, my brother's sleeping over there in the den, dude, and I just heard him go. Ah.
Did the cat jump on him?
He's having a bad dream or something, dude.
Oh.
Yeah, we got a couple cats, we got a few dogs. Maybe somebody's over there like jumping on him. I don't know. It's weird. No, but we were talking about a guy, him and his wife Oydin. It's weird. They're from Uzbekistan, but they worked he worked in the oil fields, and he was working in Kuwait back in the mid 80s. And there was this, I don't want to call it I guess it was an entity, a creature, a cryptid. I don't know what you want to call it, but I think it was vampiric.
Yeah.
Okay.
What do you know about the Lilith or Lamashtu? Because you know a lot about stuff like that. So I was going to
That's
say
a new one to me. I'm afraid I don't know that one.
So you don't know?
Lamashtu,
Really?
One of the main.
I'm not kidding.
Mesopotamian mythology.
Okay, so I've heard a lot. I've forgotten a lot. If you give me a description, maybe I can remember, but the name itself is not ringing a bell.
So Lilith would be the precursor to Lilith, right? Lilith is the species of sort of demonic vampiric creatures.
I thought Lilith was the first vampiric.
Well, the Lilith predates it by a few thousand years.
Okay.
See, that's the problem. People
So
were
are
talking
you a
about the
creationist?
earlier.
If you're a creationist,
I'm not a creationist.
or is it something
I'm a
that came
realist.
out of the abyss, like the jinn, right? The jinn were in the void before anything was created. So is it akin to a jinn?
Well, it could be, but it would be like it was considered like a demonic entity later on, but which would be now. But
Right.
before it was Lamashtu was a goddess.
Sure.
But she would have been like, I guess if you go back far enough, hanging out with the Watchers, I guess, I don't know, maybe even before that. People say, well, how could it be before that? There was a lot of things that happened before that. I know that there was a race of beings called the Lilitu.
Okay.
And I'm wondering if that's what this was. But I didn't know
So what happened to him that makes you think that?
Well, it's not really what happened to him. It's some of it happened to him, but it was more about what happened to the people he was working for. And they had something happen around them, and the guy he was working for freaked out and panicked.
Okay.
Because 2 infants were lost in a short period of time.
Oh.
Yeah, and then another child was taken, disappeared. It was a very small child. So they were wondering how this could be happening. And then, of course, being that Kuwait is not necessarily like, it's on the outward appearance like an Islamic, whatever. But the people that run it are actually very secular. They just kind of pretend. But some of these people, they have no interest in believing these kind of things, and they just think it's like fairy tales. But then some of them have to face the truth that this is real.
Sure.
So I think this is what happened to these people. But I was going to get into a whole thing about it, but I just wanted to know if you knew what that was.
I'm not familiar. I mean, I'm familiar with Lilith, of course, but Lilitu I am not familiar with. And I'm asking the questions because I'm curious why it would be thought that it's something older. Why would it not be Lilith? Why would it be the Lilitu and not Lilith? Because they're similar creatures, right?
Vampiric, yes.
Vampiric and kind of the same MO.
Yeah, but the Lilitu were from ancient Sumerian culture, which and they predated Lilith and the idea of Lilith.
No, I get that, but these particular attacks could be either, I would assume. Right.
Yeah, but it wouldn't be Lilith per se, because Lilith is one being. The Lilitu are a race of beings.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Lamashtu is the precursor to Lilith.
So what happened to the children?
Disappeared.
Yeah.
And then there was a rash of pets being exsanguinated, but these weren't pets. They were dogs, racing dogs, and guard dogs. And they were exsanguinated. We talked about it on the show last night, at least one of the cases of that. And there were birds.
Lots of blood,
That's good. Have a good night.
No blood at all.
That's crazy.
Like they were completely exsanguinated. That was the weird thing. And the guy, he's from Uzbekistan, and he told me, he's like, I've seen some weird things. He worked with a guy who had a hyena-like creature, bipedal creature, come right up to him. Not to him, the guy that told me the story, but the guy that he knew, who was working in the oil fields in Kazakhstan. And he was telling me about that story earlier today, because we had gotten into it, and he watched it. He watched the replay. And yeah, I mean, and I did miss a couple things, and that always happens. They'll be like, "Well, you missed this and that," and I was like, "Well, you could just tell it yourself." It's like, it's up to you. I mean, but he can't speak English like real good. Like it's not his first language or even his second language. So, it has to go through me. But the thing that he was telling me today was a little bit weird. Like, I guess there were like birds that were left on people's doorsteps that before the children were taken, there were birds that were exsanguinated and left there. So I did some looking into that, and apparently that was some sort of, that's not gifting or warning, that's an exchange. And they can only attack, apparently, I think it's like what you were talking about, Abe. Like, there has to be a spiritual opening. And I guess these people, I mean, and by this guy's own words, he said that the people he's working for, they kind of paid lip service to doing good or being religious. They weren't really religious. They drank behind closed doors and fornicated and did whatever, but they were very pious and out in the open. They were just like, I'm very holy, I follow the Quran and I go to mosque and all this stuff. But behind closed doors, they were just wild and doing all kinds of crap, lavish lifestyle, spending a lot of money. They were Kuwaitis. I mean, they are very rich. And so yeah, Sean, I would definitely say that. When they found these birds, they didn't know what it meant. So they went to this guy named, and I got his name wrong. His name was Umar. I called him Omar or Amar.
That was in the 80s, you say?
Yeah, the 80s, yeah. So this guy Umar, he was like a seer, and he, had this like little hut that he lived out in the middle of nowhere, and it was like Tatooine, the way he described it, out in the middle of the desert with nothing but rocks and sand, and this guy lived out there in this little, like a hut, and these billionaire people would go out there to sit with this guy and talk with this guy, because he would tell them things. He was blind. He was born blind. He had never seen with physical eyes, but he could move around and do stuff. And he would be walking through the desert and he could get around, even though his eyes were completely whited out, And while they were in this hut, there was this, I forgot about this part yesterday on the show, but there was this sandstorm and they had to sit in his hut for like several hours. And there's nowhere to lay or anything. You can only sit. So he was just hunched over. He said it was very uncomfortable. And so they just slept. He just tried to hunch over and sleep. And when the storm ended, basically it was like a freaky thing. They had to like kind of partway dig their way out. It wasn't like they were trapped, but there was sand everywhere. And he said that when he went to sleep, he saw this weird creature that had this black, the head, everything was black except for the teeth that were white. And it contrasted. There were no eyes. It was just black eyes on black skull. So I guess there were eyes, but there were no eyes that you could visibly see. But this creature was crawling around. It had a weird tail, and it was just moving around. And the guy basically just chastised it, and it left. And he said that these things come up from out of the sand, but that they bring vibration. Well, this is a weird thing. When he said that these things will bring a vibration, it's something that he could physically feel and hear. And he would basically read what these creatures, what energy they brought, and then he could tell these people what was going on. And that's how he, communicated with them. It's kind of like a demon, I guess. It would come to you and give you information, or they're just in that area moving around, and the hive mind that they have kind of, and then he disseminates the information to them. And he told the guy, he says, your child is in danger. You're all in danger. And because they were there and this creature was able to see them, he thinks, and this is just what Oibek thought, was that creature being able to see them put a mark on them, so that when they went their separate ways, or if they decided to go their separate ways, they would be in trouble, because this creature could, the one that was doing the attacking would pick them off and take their children, because it didn't really want them. It wanted their children, although one of the guys did get attacked. And apparently one guy was even pulled out of his bed and ended up like falling from the talons of this creature, which were hands. Yeah. The feet of this creature were hands. Yeah. And so that was a different creature than the one that came in the desert.
It would only come out at night.
Yeah, I did not even, they never saw it during the day. So yeah. The thing had red eyes in the dark. It was red-eyed. But they were talking about another creature too that they saw that really wasn't the same thing. It was like, I don't know if it was working with this creature or what, but it was like when it went into the fountain, which was this blue water fountain they had, this creature came out, it went in like a white crawler looking creature and came out looking kind of like a dog or a wolf, you know, not real tall, just kind of scrawny and short. And then it walked on its hind legs. And so that was another weird thing that happened. And so when these things happen, there's this tendency to think that it's just one creature, doing this, but it's like, Legion.
Yeah.
They don't come by themselves. They bring the whole family. And I remember talking to a cleric one time at the mosque that I used to do security for, and I remember him telling me, and I've known this guy forever. That's how I got the assignment, because he worked downtown back in his wilder days before he became reformed and whatever. And so he was from Morocco, and he was Berber by birth, which is not Arabic, but they are the native peoples of North Africa, Saharan Africa, and they look. You would mistake them for Arab, maybe, but they'll tell you real quick, we're not Arabs. But his tradition, and their beliefs, they kind of clash a little bit with the Arabic beliefs that was brought to them by the sword, by Islam. And what he described these creatures, and when I talked to him about this one time, we were talking about the phenomena that people have in the Middle East of these different types of entities, vampiric or otherwise. It did seem to be energy was what they wanted, whether to drain you physically, mentally, or spiritually.
Mm-hmm.
And he said that there was a lot of people who were becoming possessed at his mosque. And this is interesting. At around that same time, and I know like multiple former Catholic priests, one of them works with us now. He was on the show talking about the clown werewolf, whatever. But this guy, he was a former priest who didn't make it. He was going to be a priest. And then he was like, look, man, he goes, I like women and, I couldn't just not get married and whatever. He goes, I found a wife. And I just said, I know I wasn't supposed to, but I left the church and I got married, and now I'm I think he's Methodist now, but he was telling me around that same time, his name is Eric, that there were multiple exorcisms that were happening around the world that were actually privately sanctioned by the Catholic Church. It's interesting because my friend who told me about the people in the mosque coming in and flipping out and being possessed, I was not there during any of this, but one of the guards that I worked with was, and had to escort one of these people out. And that person it was a female, and they have their own section, right? And she was flipping out and attacked one of the cleric's wives and bit him. So that was weird, and then around the same time, and she bit a woman through her shawl. She bit her on the ear. And was going crazy. And when I talked to my friend who was in the priesthood, he had said that because we were working at a Catholic church at that time, we were doing security, and it was, I don't remember what year that was, because we worked at Catholic church multiple times, and it was always like for a week or a weekend, because they were doing remodeling, and then they had us come back for their different events because they had been vandalized. What was interesting about that too was that there was a rash of vandalism that was happening to churches, mosques, and different facilities. And I believe it was 2009 or 10. I'm trying to remember. But they all said the same thing, that there was, and this guy that I met there, he was, leaving the priesthood. He was debating about it. And we sat there one night and we talked, and it was me and one of my nephews who was working with me. And he told us that he wanted to leave, that he was like, I fell in love with this woman, you know. He was telling us about it, and, you know, we're there for 12 hours, whatever. And there was two of us because one of us had to be in the courtyard area, and one of us had to be by the main entrance where there had been vandalism. Somebody had spray painted a bunch of satanic crap onto the church. And the same thing had been happening to these different churches and mosques around the city at that time. One of them was downtown, and our patrol, one of our patrol people, helped the police chase somebody down, and they didn't catch them. A weird thing, too, is they went into an area. This was at Episcopalian church. And where this was, there was a cement wall. There was nowhere for them to go, and it was like 8 feet high. And when they turned the corner, this individual had scaled the wall, I guess, which I thought was interesting because unless there's Spider-Man, I know where that's at. I don't really see that happening. So I thought that was weird. What they were doing was trying to break into the church. They weren't necessarily vandalizing it, but, you know, it's still damage. And when I talked to Eric, who we became friends over the years, we stayed friends. He's gotten married now and lives in Nevada. But I thought it was interesting that it was happening, all of this was happening around the same time. And I remember when we talked to this individual from the church, my brother went into that church. I don't want to say the name of it, because if I say where it's at or whatever, and I may have said it on the show before, probably did. But my brother took a picture of the crucifix, which was gigantic. And I was really creeped out inside of that church. I was really creeped out inside of the mosque. When I would go into that mosque, and when there was nobody there, I would go in and you know use the restroom, whatever, sit in the parking lot. And we had that account for years. I think 11 years we had that account. We had the other one for 6 years, off and on. It would go off and on at the Catholic church. Now, weird thing, both places gave me the creeps. You're supposed to be in the house of God.
Yeah.
But you feel inundated with spirits. Very uncomfortable. I heard voices in both places, and I saw lights come off and on in both places. Nothing so dramatic that I could sit here and regale you with terror, because it's not really going to be terrifying, considering some of the material that we have exploited here on the show. You're sitting here going like, wow, that is, you know, scary. Not really, because I'm just going to retell you. I saw lights come off and on. I heard voices. I heard footsteps. One time I was so convinced at the Catholic church that there was someone behind me that I pulled out pepper spray, and I turned around because I thought it was a homeless person. I thought somebody had broken in. And one of our guards was walking. His name is Gabriel. Doesn't work for us anymore. I have permission to say his name and tell his story. Known him for years. He's worked with me downtown. Pretty tough guy. He's not a scaredy cat at all. Grew up in East Austin. He was walking, and there was this big window. I guess it was just like a giant window. And when you walk across that area, you could see into the woods, and there's nothing to see. It's just thick woods. And he said he looked into the window and he saw a black cloaked figure walking behind him. He also heard something call his name in a weird, decrepit voice, which just made him sit outside the whole time and not go inside to use the restroom. He was leaving sight to go to the restroom, and there was no restroom that was close by. And I told him, I said, "You're going a long ways to leave to go to the restroom." He says, "I cannot walk around inside of that place." So at that time, I was working security 2 days a week over at the mosque. I said, "Well, you can switch with me. I'll do the church, you do the mosque." And so that went on for a while. That's how I ended up over there. And I was okay with it. I was working on the weekend because we had a weekend shift that was 24/7 when they were doing the construction. Now, they were having to do the construction because the vandalism it cost tens of thousands of dollars, the vandalism that took place. And what's crazy is they had cameras, But when these people did the vandalism, the cameras were just cutting out. Crazy. Do what?
So that's very interesting.
Very interesting. So when me and my business partner and our sales guy went over there, because he's the one that fielded the call, there was definitely it was people that did it. I mean, this wasn't no supernatural. I think it was people that did it. I can't tell you what it was that caused the cameras to malfunction, but they did a lot of damage to the point where the church had to be closed for a while. Very beautiful place, very ornate. And then they just decided to get this. Let's just renovate the whole thing. Which led to some people speculating that maybe they did it themselves and had it, I don't think so, because when I watched the cameras, these guys really wanted to catch the people that did it. And I told them, one of them had a van. You could see there was clearly a van, but you couldn't see the license plate. You couldn't see it. It was too blurry. And I said, this is weird. When we had the cameras that we used them there, I had to go in and check them once an hour. I was welcome to sit in there. I didn't want to sit inside, but I had to go at least check them, and they were very functional. And I asked the guy that was my contact there, I said, what is this? Were they always like this? He said, yes, they've always been clear, which is why it's so weird that particular night it wasn't. So the police came by there a few times and we shot the breeze, and they were convinced that it was people that did it. But one of the police officers was of the opinion, off record, he told me that he believed that there was something weird going on there, because the first week after the vandalism, they had the security detail, but they charged a lot of money. You're asking, and these aren't Austin cops. This is another town right next to Austin. Yeah, and that particular police officer, he told me point blank that he thought it was something other than normal. So I pushed him, a little bit, and I said, we have another weird site, and it's a religious place. It's a mosque. And when I told him, he says, oh, I know where that's at. And he's like, yeah, I used to live not that far from there. And we got into a whole thing about the weird stuff that was going on there. Well, about 3 weeks into this whole thing, Gabriel asked for a transfer to another site. So I sent him to the gym. We had multiple 24-hour fitnesses. Former client. And so I told him, I said, yeah, okay, I'll send you to such and such 24-hour fitness and we'll change you out. I said, but that is a day schedule. And he said, I don't care. Guy had worked nights for years, going back to when I was running a nightclub, and was completely okay with just switching up the hours just so he could get away from, because he didn't want to work at those two particular sites. And there were some construction sites we had. We had a hotel at that time, and I told him, I said, you can go there. And he's like, no, it's too far out, but I'll take that. And I think that, when you're working at a place like that at night by yourself, there's a lot of energy there. One of the things I think about churches and mosques and whatever is that people go in there to pray and release the energy off of them that is negative. I think that a lot of these clerics and these priests, not knocking people, preachers, whatever, aren't prepared, aren't really properly trained to deal with the truly negative energy. And I'm going to say this, and this may sound a little bit bad, because not to me, because I think it's the truth, but people are going to judge you regardless. So who cares? Let them judge. I think that they are. It's because a lot of what they've been taught is not correct. And I think. Okay, now I just saw something. That's weird.
Was it jumping on your brother?
No, but I did see something going in that direction. That was weird.
Going back to the vampiric thing. When I was out there, things were happening to me that I don't know. And I was awake. I wouldn't sleep on the tank. This is in '95 when I went back to guard the Iraqi border. We had the tank with the camo net, and I would get my cot and I put it on the ground, even though there were scorpions and snakes. I was trying to give me a good night's rest, because of the heat, and it would get cold at night. And but there was something coming messing with me all the time at nighttime, where it'll come and pull my sleeping bag. At first, I thought it was the soldiers, right, my crew. But when I would go check, everybody's asleep. So sometimes I hear footsteps running around me. Then it got to the point of where I could feel somebody putting their elbow on my throat. Could feel them pull their hands around my neck. So I got tired of that, So I'm gonna when I hear the footsteps running towards me, so I'm gonna jump out of the bag. I'm not even gonna go to sleep. So as I heard the footsteps running towards me, and I jumped out of the bag, but there was nobody there. So, I believe that there is a lot of activity. Another thing, the wind at nighttime. You hear all kinds of noises in the wind. Moanings, you can hear like women, children, but there's nobody around. I mean, but there's nothing blocking the desert either, so it could be a possible echo from a distance. And the sandstorms that you were talking about, those are pretty ferocious, man. The sandstorms, I would just close the hatch and stay in the tank, because they'll be blowing and blowing and blowing, like. And if that guy was in a little tent, it's possible that they got caved in there, because it would happen to us when we had our tent set up out there. But definitely a lot of spiritual activity out there at nighttime that you don't know. I know there's a lot of underground tunnels or bunkers all throughout the desert, especially in the area we're at. They had underground underground tunnels underneath. So only God knows what's out there. I do remember seeing a person coming out of the sand like a freaking lizard or reptilian, where he's crawling like this and moving like a snake, but then he just stands up and he looks at me and he leaps like a good 10 feet, I think like 10 feet, and lands on top of my tank with an AK-47, and he's got a smile on his face. And when he looks at me, the only thing I could see in his eyes was yellow, So he's looking at me and he's gonna shoot my crew. So this is in the middle of combat. I had to eliminate him. So I opened up my hatch and got him with my 9mm right in between the eyes, and he fell over. But then I could see, when we're talking about the degen, how the degen infiltrates, like there was burning smoke right from the burning tank. So you could see the spirit of the degen in the air. And I'm looking like, how come all the smoke is rising and that's not rising? And I'm looking at this, and then it just jumps from person to person. And every person that jumped, these people had white flags on, giving up. They're giving up, surrendering. And
I don't want to interrupt, but this
jumps in the person, right? And the person drops a flag. I'm talking about this is a Medina Republican guard that are surrendering. Then he picks up the AK-47 and starts shooting, and then they take him out, and then it goes from person. It was like, I think I counted what I've seen, like a lot of white flags, like a group of 10 people trying to give up, and they jump from person to person. And all those people holding the white flag that would drop it and start shooting, they got eliminated. But I could see the degen going in from person to person, in and out, in and out, in and out. Spiritual openings. I know these people that had killed women and children before we went. When we found the gravesite of this woman and children, and it wasn't even a gravesite. They were on top of the dang sand where they had killed them. We ran into the site of dead women and dead children. They had raped them and killed them. But yeah, there's a lot of strange things out there. The thing about the birds, I just want to put something in there just for y'all to think about. You know how I said that the birds were dying and stuff like that, or there would be an offering of a bird. I did see something in that nature, but you got to remember one thing: Saddam Hussein, you know, he messed with a lot of chemical warfare. So when the sandstorm happens, it can carry the chemical in the sandstorm. I remember they set us up in Alpha Alpha, and there was a dead camel, a dead goat, a dead dog, and the first thing I told my first sergeant, the first sergeant, this area is contaminated because there's dead animals in here, and I was cross attached to the infantry, you know. So he said, I'm going to show you tankers how we do things here. And he still set us up in that contaminated Alpha Alpha. Next thing you know, the following morning, his CO winds up getting company commander gets sick, and we never see him again all the time we're out there because they take him to the hospital. So I'm over there by my tank. I'm not in the center where it's contaminated, where the dead animals were. The tanks were set up like further out to guard the Alpha Alpha, and I seen this bird land on the ground. The bird was looking at me, was walking around, and he picked up a seed. He, you know, swallowed the seed. Not even like 10 seconds, the bird just falls over, and it's dead. So yeah, that's another thing. Contamination, or through chemical agents and all that is possible. They saw an animal. I mean, the animals died and the bird died. Just putting it out there, one of the theories that I think could happen. But yeah, there's a lot of strange activity. You know, there's people with the yellow eyes. I think they were demonized. You know, a possible degen, or I don't know what thing, Sister Monica, would you think might have yellow eyes? You know, like yellow glow
eyes, like fire in the eyes, and Ifrit is a type of jinn that has burning eyes.
That's what I felt, and you know. So the only thing I could do, I was praying the Our Father with it myself, you know. Mm-hmm. At that time, I was only 19, but then I had to eliminate the vessel. So if I eliminate the vessel, the jinn can use an AK-47, right?
Right.
So that's why I eliminated the vessel. But then, you know, started jumping from person to person. I had to pray for my crew, you know, because we're in the middle of a battle. And, you know, bullets are flying and all kinds of stuff, you know, big round, main gun rounds going off. And at the same time, I'm the driver, you know, I get the full view of this and I'm low to the ground. So I'm able to see the whole scenery. But I was in prayer also at the same time. I was praying for my crew, and I was praying for all the other tanks that we were fighting. I think these people possibly could have summoned, you know, when they talk about Allah, I wonder who the Allah is. I mean, if the jinn was in their side, but then
I don't think it was on their side. I think it took the opportunity. I mean, there's carnage and there's a lot of death. I think it was drawn by that, not because of the religion per se. I think that area that the jinn inhabit saw.
Yeah, but I'm thinking what I'm saying. Yeah, there's opportunity there. Fear is opening, spiritual opening. But if, you know, what I'm trying to say is that they had killed those women and children, mm-hmm. that could have been another opportunity also for the jinn to have full, you know, another spiritual opening, a murder, right? What they did. So I was protecting through prayer over here on my end. So the only thing he could attack was the one that had the spiritual openings, which was, you know, that had murder and kill women and children. And then, of course, when you see the coalition coming after you, all these tanks and rounds flying everywhere, the number one thing that happened to them was fear. So that's what the jinn used to attack them. You know, yeah, I know, but I seen it close up how he looked when it was in spirit form. Like it looked like smoke, but it wasn't smoke. You know, just a spirit, a dark spirit. But then, when that guy came out of the sand the way he did, it was moving like a freaking reptilian or snake. But then he stood up and he jumped. He literally jumped like 10 feet and landed on top, like he was possessed, you know. And he was looking down. I could see his eyes. I mean, close up.
Well, that's there's actually a type of jinn
the
that
Ifrit.
is the Ifrit, but those are fire. Those are fire demons, but they actually they can inhabit desert areas, but they're not technically part of. There's one in particular that I have to say would be the culprit, and that is the Rabatsu. The Rabatsu, if you look it up, it's found in the Akkadian Empire. The Akkadian Empire is in modern day Iraq. It was part of the Mesopotamian area, and it was right there from the edge of the Persian Gulf, going inward almost to the border of Persia, and it encompassed a lot of the heart of where you would have been, Abe. And so the Rabashu would be the culprit for me. I mean, you can look it up. I don't know how to spell it. I 100%. I think it's
and there was another location there in that area where there's something else was there. We call it the Dragon's Lair, man. The reason it's in the open sand, but it was a big old rock or stone, right? A huge stone, but by the stone there was a big hole also, and we was shooting the main gun rounds. We're training, and then we see something come out of right beside that boulder, and it was huge. It was green, and we're looking at it through our freaking sights, man. It looked like a dragon, and it looked. And then I said, "Well, maybe it's just an iguana." I said, "But I've never seen an iguana that big before." And it was standing right by the boulder. It was right there, and he's looking, and then he just went back into the hole, under the ground, and into the sand. So till this day, we just call it the Dragon's Lair because we've only seen it one time, but we never got near that. I had witnessed something like that during a Persian Desert Storm. We're going over a freaking dirt mound, of the sand. When we go up the sand, there's this giant green I don't know what to call it, man, because it was in lizards are small. It was like a freaking dragon, man. Some kind of
their sound.
And it was.
Hold on, Abe, hold on. Somebody's mute because it's interrupting what he's saying. I'm hearing every other word. It's like. Is that you, Paladin?
Yeah.
I don't think so, but I just joined, and if there's anything affected after I joined, I guess it might be me. So I'll go ahead and mute it.
It's no big deal. Just mute it.
Not me.
Just a minute so he can.
Yeah, I'll mute until summoned.
Appreciate it. Go ahead, Abe.
Yeah. So as we go up, we're doing maneuvers, and we see this huge ass freaking. I'll call it a dragon, man, because lizards are small. This sucker was longer than the tank, and it was just looking at us like it was not afraid of us. It was just looking at us, and we were rolling. You know how the tank makes noise? It wasn't budging or nothing, just standing there looking at us. And I stopped the tank, and I'm looking at this through my freaking. I was a driver. I said, "Hey, sir, I'm gonna go over there and mess with the big lizard." That's what I called it. And he's like, "Nope, you're staying inside the tank. They'll probably eat you." That's what he said. So I didn't go after it or nothing like that, but it was huge. We just it was just getting the sun. I don't know if there's any kind of I don't know how to say it. There was just it was no iguana. It was huge. Just all I could tell you.
At it.
We don't know what's in the sand. That's what the thing is there was a lot of the soldiers. They were literally in the sand, dude. And they call them underground bunkers, but I don't know. It was strange the way the people were acting and stuff like that. And I do believe there was a lot of people there also that had not just I don't think just the degen, but other things in them, because it did look like they were kind of like possessed. I wasn't in the detail of policing them up because I was in the front lines. So that detail was to the people behind us that were stuck in that detail of getting the POWs. But I would hear stories as what they would say, how some of these people that were possessed, like they were talking different languages and stuff like that. And they would put those people that were acting strange, they would put them all together in a certain location. You know, like even though the POWs were freaked out with them because they knew there was something wrong with them. You know, just hear stories like that. But I just wanted to bring that up. You know, what you were saying earlier. Yeah, there's a lot of activity out there. You think there's a lot of supernatural activity in the desert, big time. Nighttime is the worst. That's all I can say. Nighttime, because the nighttime is pitch black. I had my driver. I would tell him, don't go be playing cards over there in the Alpha. He wouldn't listen to me. So it's like 12:30, and he's walking right toward the tank. And then I'm asleep, and I just hear gear. You know, I was like, oh hit. I'm like, oh shit. Oh man, here we go again. They're going to come try to choke me again. But it's my driver. You know, I was a sergeant then. He's running. He's running scared, and he jumped on top of the tank and goes into his sleeping bag. So the following day, when he wakes up, when the sun rises, I say, hey, man, what happened last night? Why you're running? And you just literally jumped. You didn't grab it. You jumped on the tank. He said he was walking, and he heard somebody saying something to him right beside him. And when he looked, there was something very tall looking at him, saying something to him. He didn't tell me if he seen eye shine or nothing like that. The only thing, he was a dark shadow figure right beside him. And he said he was running fast, and he was still right there by him. You know, he never went back to play cards after that for the rest of the duration of the time we were out there. But yeah, there's a lot of activity out there.
I believe you. I've got to shoot off. I'm going to say just didn't alarm you, Josh, everyone earlier, just a while ago, talking about some of the weird stuff. Pretty fellow presence beside me, something actually moved past my face. That's why I brushed and looked over. So stuff's so active over here. I'm sure once we finish the episodes, the interview we have, discussion, we go through the rest of my experiences. I know just 2 weeks ago, I was trying to sleep. Family members in the next room, just finishing watching TV, and my closet has wooden kind of edging, and it sounded like something put its hands on that and twice in a row. No damage, thankfully. There's no damage on it, but this particular
Stop. Leave him alone. Sorry, my dog was harassing my cat. One of my cat Panzers trying to sleep, and she's jumping on him.
That's all good. Dogs love to do that. But I haven't specifically, when I was thinking about everything I experienced with the Draco reps, all that stuff, that's when it happened. So it was pretty likely one of them coming around, letting me know that they were there at about the middle of the night, kind of on my closet. So when we get to talk about the rest of the discussion, I got a few more things to add, pretty much.
Okay.
So,
so we need to set that up, man, and we'll talk off camera and we'll get it done. I just have a lot of people I'm trying to get stories from and record with, and
all good. Like I say, I work tomorrow, and then I have pretty much the entire month off.
Well, you know what? Tomorrow I got to go out of town, but I'll be back in the evening, and we could probably do it tomorrow.
Yeah, we could see about that same time as we usually do. That should work.
We'll talk. Yeah, and it would be good if Richard, if you could jump on or whatever, it'd be good to help. You know, we could do it, or whoever wants to record with us. Monica, you're welcome to too. It'd be nice to have you on one of our pre-records.
That would be cool, but I've got Texas show tomorrow night.
Really? What time?
10.
What time do y'all get done?
About 10:30 usually.
It's only 30 minutes?
10. Oh, I'm sorry, 11:30. I'm wishing it was 10:30.
Yeah, we get started pretty late with Under Fire, you know. So you know, let me know if you're up for it. You know, if you guys want to go late and record, because it's always good to have a panel. Because some of the stuff that he's been discussing, if you guys haven't been listening to the Friday shows, we didn't do it last Friday. We've had some issues. My wife's had health issues, but. You know, we definitely are going to get back on track this Friday and continue, because you have some really interesting material. What you are is an experiencer, and I wouldn't have known this until I started interviewing people of your caliber. You know, Now I know there are people who are just prone to this. And like what I was talking about, that guy Gabriel, you know, he felt things everywhere I put him. And he wasn't lying, because he pinpointed an area at that 24-hour fitness by the pool and talked about having felt something and seen something. And I told him, I said, when they were draining it, they had our guards over there watching that area. And one of our guards, a guy named Eddie, claimed to have seen some kind of black thing like move. And literally it was like smoke going down the drain. And so when Gabriel had told me he had seen something similar, I said, this guy, I told him, you're an experiencer. And he told me a bevy of stories from the old days at the club, because he was one of our closers. So I would give him, I trusted him. I would give him the keys and be like, here, just close up, you know, and then I'd pay him extra to do some cleaning. And he had a couple guys that would help him. And he said after hours, dude, there was some weird stuff in there. Now I had to deal with it in the afternoons, going in to do liquor order. But, you know, and everybody's like, well, it's daylight. No, it's not, because it's pitch black in that club, because there's only windows upstairs, and downstairs it's just all dark, you know, and it's just. So I'd take my dogs. I had a German Shepherd and a Mastiff, and they were big, strong animals, and they would growl constantly and bark. And they were not shadow barkers. They didn't just bark at anything. They were barking because they were seeing things. And they wouldn't let me be alone, and I wouldn't let them be alone. We would, if I had to go upstairs to get something, they would go with me. They just instinctively, we all stayed together. And they were very protective of me. And so I felt safe when I had one or both of them with me. But a couple times I didn't have time. I just ran and got my truck and took off because I was running late or whatever, or I had been at Home Depot or whatever. And I had to go in by myself. And it felt a lot spookier when you didn't have your canine companions to kind of protect you. But yeah, we'll record. Definitely, I want to get this done. I want to record with you, because, and then I have a bunch of other people I need to record with, like Joel Benet. I need to get with him. There's just a ton of people. Kendrick, I haven't forgotten about you. There's just a bunch of people that I need to get with and record. But yeah, if you want to tomorrow night, and whoever wants from the panel wants to jump on and be a part of it, because the discussions get really good. Especially with the material that Sean has. So,
well, and get to the rich stuff here, the next one. I tell you that much. So I'll leave. God bless your wife, Josh, your family, everyone here. Please watch over each other, and may God watch over each and every one of you, especially in these dark times. And may we all pull through it.
Lord bless you, Sean. Take her easy, brother.
God bless you, Sean.
Easy.
Be well,
brother John.
Yeah, if you need someone on a panel for one of the pre-records or whatever, I'm usually pretty free during the daytime.
Yeah, well, what's cool is when you start recording and you know, Sean talks about part of it, then we all start discussing, and a bunch of stuff gets thrown in there, and it came out really well. You know, I don't know how it was going to, but I thought it came out really good. The Friday episodes with Sean have been going on for weeks. It's just, he had a lot of material, and there was a lot of good stuff to cover, starting with his assertion that he was a walk-in. Quite interesting. So a very interesting guy.
So question, is he like from, did he come over from like Hellbent Holler? Because I remember Under Fire, like a couple years back, I came over from the Hellbent Holler at the big round table that you guys had. I kind of remember the name Under Fire from like their stream back in the day.
I would have to, I mean, maybe he's still in the chat. Maybe he can answer. I don't know. I know that we share, like they have some people that are strictly just, they want to watch the boots on the ground, and some people that like ours, and then some people that like both. So it's
I
just,
like both of them.
Yeah, I think it's good, because there's a contrast there between us and them. We do a lot of the fielding of reports and interviewing and stuff like that, and they do the boots on the ground. They're real boots on the ground. They're not this rinky-dink, somebody following me, Abe Foss is up here stalking me. You know, they shut up.
Yeah, they're like 10, 20 miles off the freaking road.
You know?
Like, barely even have cell service most of the time. They're not standing off the side of the road flashing a flashlight into the bush. Yeah, they're real hikers.
Let's not go into this guy. I don't want to get. I want to say something though. This is what you're gonna be interested in. This, Richard. Now, here's something that Abe was talking about. And here's something to sink your teeth into, right? Okay, so the Rabasu, these beings that were from the sandstorms, they were of Akkadian mythology, right? Now, Akkadia stretched from Turkey, part of Turkey, into Syria, right, into Iraq. It encompassed a bunch of Iraq up into Iran. Now, these beings were said to be demons, right? But they were sent like flocks of these beings, like packs of them, by the god Enlil.
Okay.
Right? Yeah, the storm god, right?
Interesting.
So here is something interesting for you to sink your teeth into, Richard. 4,200 years ago, that whole basin was abandoned and the civilization ceased to be for a long time because they believed that for 300 years it was plagued by vicious sandstorms that made agriculture damn near impossible. And so the Akkadian Empire fell because they could not sustain it because wind was a problem. It just kept blowing. And it covered up a lot of the civilization. So when Abe's talking about, I thought about that when he was talking about the dragon's lair. Who knows what that was? If it was something the wind may have uncovered and then recovered. And then you have these creatures or beings or whatever that come to the surface. Could this be the Rabasu saying hello? I don't know. I mean, but it's as good a, shot in the dark as any, just saying, hey, because I'm not just shooting in the dark though. I'm just what I think it, if you're pinpointing, but I mean, it's better. I guess I should say it's better than just a shot in the dark. Like this is what I think it is. I'm not saying 100% I know, because here at PRT we postulate on theories. We don't say this is 100%. I don't say, hey, this is 100% true because I don't know. But if you had to twist my arm, I would say yes, this is probably what that is, because that's where the Akkadian Empire was. People get confused. They think that Samaria and Mesopotamia are the same thing. They are, but they're not. That's like saying Texas and America are the same thing. They are, but they're not. In other words, Texas is a part of America. Some people think it's the other way around. It's Monica, Abe, people from Texas are like, we're Texas, I'm one of those people, but I've met some obnoxious Texans out and about too, though, that are just, they can be really obnoxious. You'll meet them and they'll be like, oh, fellow Texan, huh? Look at these dumbass people over here. And you're like, can you not to please do that? Because, it's like, we're in their land and let's be respectful, but they're like, but yeah, that's what people don't understand is like Samaria was, in Mesopotamia. Mesopotamia is that entire region. And multiple civilizations rose and fell: the Babylonians, the Hittites, the Assyrians, the Akkadians. Their empires rose and fell. And then the Persians, of course, the Persians more modern, which I know that sounds crazy because that's ancient to us, the Greeks and the Persians, but that's more closer to our history now. And you have to realize that after the release by Cyrus, King Cyrus, when he released the Israelites that were in captivity for hundreds of years, they had been Persianized and they had been brought up on stories of the Babylonian Empire, and they wrote a history. They didn't have a written history up to that point. It was oral. And they wrote a history, they carved it out, and then that became what we know of as the Old Testament Bible. So then people will say, well, I don't believe all this stuff before that or whatever, blah, blah, blah. Well, it doesn't really matter whether you believe it or not. That's what was going on, and that's what happened. And then we take one group of people from that region and say, these people are 100% correct. Yet you have about a dozen who mirror all that same tradition. And their God tells all of them over and over again that everyone else is wrong and that they should kill them. I'm not joking. That literally happened over and over and over again. So when you are a history person, you start to look at it and go, okay, if we're just looking at it taking our feelings and what we want to be true aside and just look at it historically, it doesn't necessarily add up the way that they're saying it's supposed to be. But it does lend credence to this theory that we are all interconnected. And so, Richard, I thought that was interesting when you were talking about or when Abe was talking about the sand, and and then that came to my mind. And Richard, you're always talking about the mud flood. So that would have been one, technically, a long time ago. Sand covered that entire region and destroyed a very strong and vital part of what was a very powerful empire, the Akkadians.
I really truly believe that the desert is just some place that was completely mud flooded back in the day.
Yeah. And that
I believe that.
archaeologists would say, speculating that 4,200 years ago, that's exactly what happened to the Akkadians. Then you see that it kind of happens again and again. So, but here's the interesting thing. Here is the rub, folks.
I think we fought in the location, brother Josh Turner, that you're talking about, where the vicious sandstorms were, because everything was obscure. There was so much a vicious sandstorm was there in the location we fought. It was there for days, and it's just that in the middle of the battle that the wind changed direction in favor of us, because it was against us. It was like obscuring us for seeing the enemy, but the winds changed. But yeah, we fought in that area. But another thing I just wanted to mention, we stood in place where we destroyed the Medina Republican Guard. Dogs, I mean, they came out of everywhere, and they were just, doing what they were doing to the body parts,
eating the bodies.
But there was something else. There was something else, and I couldn't sleep. That's one of the reasons I couldn't sleep at nighttime. I think I went I would sleep during the day, is because there was something that was growling, but it wasn't the dogs that were out there. And it was growling above me. Even though I was asleep on top of the tank, I could hear the growl from above. So it had to be something big. The growls of the dogs, so they were fighting amongst each other. At nighttime, you could hear them fighting each other, where they're fighting for the food. But there was something else there growling above us, like from above us. So it had to be something either tall, and it sounded like, I don't know, it wasn't the growl of the dogs, that's all I can say. But there was something out there that I couldn't sleep. I couldn't sleep at nighttime. It's like I had my 9mm on me, just ready to shoot if I had to, but something was out there besides those dogs. I just, it's pitch dark. At that time, we only had one night vision. We're a 4-man crew. We only had one night vision. God would look. If we were pulling guard, then the one person that's awake, that's pulling the guard, could only see what's out there through the thermals. But to me, there was something else out there. I just, because it was growling above us. I don't know what it was.
Monica, you like you didn't know about the Lilitu, but you might know about this. The goddess of death in the Greek tradition. Do you know who that is?
I do. Hold on, give me a minute.
I
swear I know it. I swear.
You're really good with mythology. That's why I'm asking.
I'm really good with mythology, but my meds are kicking and I'm having a hard time staying awake.
Okay, how about this? Her name starts with an H.
I'm going to Google it.
Well, Hecate.
Because Hecate, yes, Hecate. Was she?
Yeah, Hecate was the goddess of death. Now, here's another thing.
That's
too.
Not Greek though. Persephone.
Well,
right?
it is Greek. Wait, let's look it up. Let's make sure that I'm correct. I could be wrong.
I mean, Hecate is like a big goddess in witchcraft. Like she's a big one.
And it is
interesting.
Like she's the one. Like she's the main one. A lot of people associate.
Yeah, it says here. I just looked this up. It says Hecate likely refers to Hecate, the powerful and enigmatic Greek goddess of magic, crossroads, the nights, ghosts, and necromancy. Listen, this is the part that's interesting. Often depicted with torches, keys, or dogs.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and I remember a story that was given to me. There was a guy in Pennsylvania. I'm trying to remember the name of the town where he was at. I had it on the tip of my tongue, and it was in Amish country. Damn it. And he gave me a story. Now, here's what happened. The guy's name is Paul. I remember that. And he was in Amish country, and he had his neighbors were Amish, and that he believed that they were using the book, well, he found out later, but I believe, I guess I should say, My Companion, the book that they use, the magic users of the Amish. People don't realize that. But he was having problems with these people. And I had another guy on my show that came on and literally talked about it for 2 different episodes and wrote a book about it and whatever. But this particular guy, in the story that he gave me, it's kind of what Abe was talking about. He went into an area where he found an altar of charred wood, and there was this, what looked like a stuffed dummy with no facial features, nothing. It was just like pillows, like that were in the shape of arms, legs, and it was partly burned on one side, and it looked like they just left it there, and the fire petered out, smoldered out, whatever. And so he took some photos of that area, and it just looked like charred ash. But the interesting thing was he got chased out of there by a pack of black, what he called greyhounds. But I think they were these dogs. I can't pronounce that. The Weimaraner. That's what they kind of look like to me.
Weimaraner?
Weimaraner, yeah. I always get that wrong the way that you say, yeah. But he had a picture of one of them, and it just looked like a dog. But he said this is what they looked like, and that's what I came up with. But he said that when he was in that area, and it's interesting what Abe was talking about, he heard what was like a female's voice. And now him not knowing a lot about this and not knowing what this was, he heard that word, Hecate. And he asked me if it meant anything to me, and he had already looked it up. And I said, well, I know what that is. That's the goddess of death. But she's often seen with dogs or holding keys. Now, here's an interesting thing about that. He had already looked it up. He said, you're right. And you knew that. And I said, yeah. And Greek mythology is, a lot of it is copied from other, it's just redone. So the Akkadians had an extensive trading network. One of their trading partners were the Minoans, and then the Laurians, which of course we know they became the Greeks. And then, they were the Illyrians, all these different people that settled in the different Greek city-states. I still am not of the opinion that the Spartans were who me and Casey Murphy kind of butted heads on that. I have my own opinion about that. Just the historical thing, not a big deal. But he was very like, no, that's who they are. I don't really believe that, but that's just my opinion. But regardless of who they were, they all seemed to find their way into Mesopotamia. The Greeks were master sailors, and one of their big trading partners were the Phoenicians. The Phoenicians lived below the Akkadian Empire, and I think that they were the go-between. I know that they found Greek artifacts all over that area, not just in the Mediterranean. They've even found it in the Black Sea. They've found Greek coins from Athens, Argos, all kinds of different places. So it's not a stretch to think that maybe their cultures traded enough that they exchanged gods and goddesses, eventually finding their way into the Roman Empire. And the Roman Empire had hundreds of gods and goddesses because a lot of times they overlapped too. They were the same beings. They were just called something else.
Yes, it's paganism is all the same beings throughout the world, just cultural iterations of it and different names of the exact same demons.
But do you know do you want to know my theory why that is though, Dick?
Because they serve one master.
No. Because the fallen. This is my theory. Now I'm not correcting you. I'm saying
no.
My theory is this. I believe that the 200 Watchers, each one had their own lineage. Each one procreated.
Sure.
And each one had their own people that their children and children went down and down and down. By the time they were wiped out, they had hundreds of lines of people. Now, you might say, how could that be that these beings would still be alive? The reason is because look at how many rulers supposedly the Sumerians had. There was like, what, 8?
Mm-hmm.
And it was over, what, 248,000 years or some crazy, like whatever. There's different numbers. People throw out different numbers. And they're like, that's impossible. That's impossible because we have the lifespan of ants compared to them. Right? So then you go back to the Hindu Vedas, and it talks about the 4 cycles: Satya Yuga, Tetra Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, and the Kali Yuga. 4,320,000 year, whatever, altogether. The shortest, fortunately, is the Kali Yuga, but it's still 400,000 years, give or take 10,000, whatever. And so you look at that and you say, okay, our lifespans were reduced, so this would have probably been in the Tetra Yuga going into the Dwapara Yuga. Lifespans were 10,000 years on average. But these beings probably came from before that, right? Their lifespans could be 100,000 years.
Or more.
Or more, yeah, 100,000 years, and that was when they were absolute giants, real giants, not 10 feet tall, whatever. Then you go into the Tetra Yuga. Morality is reduced by 25%. Lifespan goes down to 10,000. It was 10%, whatever. Then lifespan goes into the Dwapara Yuga, and we know this because we have the connection to that biblically, that Enoch and Noah and Methuselah, they were all living long lives, 800 to 900 years. We tapped out at 1,000. Now we tap out at 100, and we're small. We think that a person that's 6-7 feet is a tall person, and that's not a tall person. That is, we are tiny, stunted little dwarfs compared to what our ancestors were. I believe that. And which is why, to keep us in this amnesiatic whatever, they take us, anybody that finds any artifacts that belong to the giants or any kind of DNA, they run out and they grab it. Because if we put the pieces together, then we start to realize who we really are and what we are and where our place is in the universe. And that's a problem for the powers that be because they are controlled by the lineages of these beings. Now, we talked at the beginning of the show, that the German, I don't believe they interacted with these people. I don't. But what I do believe is that they had the same gods. They called them by the different names, but they were the same gods, like you said, Dick. And I think it's because of lineages. Thor was Enlil. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then it goes on and on. But Thor could be the son of Enlil. So Odin could be Enlil. And these beings correspond to weather and different things like that. And then you have each area has their own god or whatever. Look at the similarity. This is all you got to do. If anybody is not convinced, take a look at Xolotl from the Aztec tradition. Who is he? Who is he? He's Anubis. And they do the same thing. They keep the keepers of the dead. Right? And then you look at Thoth, there's a scribe, Mercury, all these different, beings. I mean, they all just correspond to multiple different gods and goddesses. And like you said, it's all the same ones, but they go by different names. But because each one of the Watchers' lineage had their own set. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, it makes sense.
They had their own set. So those that ruled over Egypt, or the land of the Euphrates, or China, right? Or the Norse gods. They all had their own set from their own lineage. So these people would travel to these other lands, and they would be like, they would bear witness to something that these gods or goddesses did, and they would be like, "Oh, you have a very powerful god. This god did all this stuff, So they would go back to their land, and they would be like, "There's a powerful god over there. I'm going to bring him here. I'm going to, whatever. Well, then there was a problem because the gods and goddesses of that region were pissed off because they were giving supplication to a foreign god. And every region of Mesopotamia was like that. Every one of them said, our God is angry and he's a jealous God and blah, blah, blah. That can't be denied that that did happen. And it was written over and over again. And that the children of Israel did the same thing. They just wrote their piece into it. The difference, though, and people always want to say, well, if that's the case, then none of it has any validity. No, that's not true. Jesus was going to be prophesied because he was of the lineage of David, of the house of David. But he makes a very startling accusation towards the children of Israel. He says that you are not real Jews. He says that you are not of the house of David.
No.
He says that. He says we suffer under those who claim that they are, and they're not. Revelations 2:9, Revelations 3:9. People don't really understand, and then they want to attack because they're like, you don't believe in you don't believe in Christ. I believe in Christ more than anybody I know. Okay, I tell you right now, 100%, because I know a lot of people who believe in Christ, but I don't know their true heart. I just know what they show us. And I believe that Brother Abe is one of those people. I believe Brother Dick is one of those people. But it takes me a lot to call somebody brother, because I don't just call everybody brother. I'm not Hulk Hogan and I'm not douchebag from LBL. So I'm not just over there, brother, you know. So your heart is true. Only you really know, because you can show the world whatever, and that's up to you. I don't judge. But I'm going to say this. We are inundated with falsehoods from the time we are born until the time we die, and we're taxed to death. We're worked to death, because I feel like I'm being worked to death. And I know people feel it. And the one way that you can figure out who's who and what's what is to ignore the noise and rise above it. Well, you say, how do you do that? Well, I do it by praying to the Son of God. I ask God to help me through Christ, his Son. You ask Jesus to help you, to save you, to come in and take over. Then you don't have to worry. Now, you can't be on autopilot, because then you're an NPC dumbass. Excuse my language, but it's the truth.
It's true, yeah.
It's true. But some people will do that. They'll be like, well, God's just going to take care of everything. You need to move yourself, right? If God created us just to sit around and look and have him do everything, what's the point? He gave you free will for a reason, right? Now, the whole thing comes into play. What if God created the Watchers? What if the Watchers created us? I say this to that. I don't know the answer to that 100%, and it doesn't really matter, because we are still of an immortal design, or from an immortal who created us. It doesn't matter.
It's like Tony said about the Council of 72, that we will make man in our image.
Mm-hmm. There was a council. And the thing that people don't grasp is the Elohim were multiple, and the Shaitan were multiple. So the book of Job, and I tell people this, and sometimes it ruffles their feathers, and I've even had supposed reverends argue me. I don't care. I just tell them, look, that's a plurality. The Elohim came down and they confronted the Shaitan, and they said, look at brother, Job, look at all of his works. He will never defy us. The Shaitan said, hold my beer, watch what I do. If I take everything from him, he's going to follow us, not you. And they said, no, he's righteous, right? The Shaitan had lost the war. There was a war in heaven. They ended up here, right? And when the Elohim asked the Shaitan, where hast thou been? They said, we've been walking to and fro upon and within the earth. Now, in the Bible, it says, God says this, because it was copied and pasted over. The book of Job predates Genesis, ladies and gentlemen. That is the truth. And people don't want to hear that. And they're like, well, how could this be? Well, because Genesis is the beginning for us, maybe, right? But it's not the beginning of all things. And then people lose their minds. And then you have a lot of arguing and fighting and people that are heretic. apostate, whatever, and I don't care because the truth is the truth. That is what these people do. They attack me nonstop day and night. And one of them, Brother Larry, has made it his mission to go to everyone door to door to say, he is an apostate, and so I believe that a lot of it has come from him. And all it takes is one or two people with a dissenting attitude who don't like what you're saying, or they don't like that you said something about their favorite football team, which I assure you is what happened with him. I'm not an Aggie, and I never will be. The thing is, people get caught up on whatever it is that they don't like about you, and they can drag people down and bring people away from the truth and the knowledge. That's a sad thing. My numbers suck, I'll be honest. We have not grown, and we are doing very bad with new subs, and that's fine. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I have what I need, okay? I don't need any more than what God allows me to have. If people want to hear the word, they will. These people have done a great job in hamstringing our growth and attacking us, and that's why we have to, do what we have to do and take them to court, because they need to be held accountable for what they have done. And they think that we're bluffing. We're not. It takes time, especially when you've put out 140,000 pieces of defamation. But folks, my point to this is we are still going to keep going. We're going to learn. And some of you will fall away, and I'm going to lose you. You're going to go and do what you got to do and be whatever. You'll lose your way. Some of you will continue to show up and hear people's encounters, and I'll tell people's encounters, and we will go into mythology, which is typically the strong suit of Mrs. Wrong.
It's not tonight. Sorry.
Not tonight. But she's got some things going on, folks, and she needs prayers too. And Brother Abe, he's got some things going on health-wise too. So do I. So does my wife. And all we can do is pray. And what I know to be true is that there is a one true living God who created these other beings that were given free will, and that is the Father of Christ. Mankind has carried on the mess that these beings have made. They have claimed things to be holy that are completely unholy. They have claimed things to be righteous that are not. And they have put people up on pedestals saying, this is the number one people on the planet, and they are not. And everything is being based upon assumptions and outright lies. Because, in my opinion, we're in a period called the Kali Yuga. Our past may have been covered over by water. It may have been covered over by mud or dirt, as Mr. Richards likes to point out. I don't know 100%. I don't have all the answers. All of this could be true.
A combination of both.
Multiple times, yeah, very possibly. And Atlanteans and Lemurians fighting one another, civilizations over 1 million years old. And then 25,000 years ago, they decided to wreck everything. Lemurians going into Mount Shasta, actually in 4 different places, and then Agartha becoming the home of the Atlanteans. Is this true? We don't know. We do know that the Akkadians were right there where Abe was fighting in Iraq, and they were swept away by sand, giving credence to what Mr. Richards said. So anyways, that's all I had to say. And, I got off track a little bit, but I wanted to bring it back to what we were talking about, what someone from the mosque told me. And then it just was weird coincidence, not coincidence, I don't believe in them, that at the same time all this was going on, there were multiple exorcisms having to take place because people were being possessed. Because certain times of the year and certain years of time, these entities dig in. They get they're entrenched. They're parasites.
Yep.
And they attack, and they launch attacks. I don't believe they all serve the same master, but I believe it all goes back to the same incident or whatever. But I do believe what we're seeing now is a coordinated effort between these shaitan. I think that the shaitan are ramping it up, and they're starting to work together. Like in the past, they were just as likely to kill each other as they were to kill you. Think of Lord of the Rings when they said, well, the orcs don't normally do this. They're just orc rabble, whatever. And I don't remember the guy's name. He was the ranger, and he says this isn't normal. We're
Aragon?
seeing. I think it was Aragon. Yeah, he says that we're seeing a new pattern here. And he was putting it together. These orcs are more organized. They're working together, and they're doing something that we haven't seen. And that was become an army, and actually following one or two leaders, not just all being on their own little personal trip, which is what I think these entities were doing. But now I think they know that their time is short and that the second coming is at hand. It's coming soon. My opinion, you don't have to believe it. And I think that that's creating a bit of anxiousness amongst these beings. So they're trying to grab everybody they can. People have a misunderstanding, though. They think that they're trying to grab us to defy God, and we're going to take as many people with us as we can. Yeah, that's part of it, but they don't realize what they're really doing. What do you think that they're really doing? This is the last question of the night, and then I got to go. What do you think they're doing? Anybody in the panel? Anybody in the chat?
Trying to bring as many souls with them as they can.
Yeah, I just said that I don't believe that. Now, you're welcome to believe that. I believe this. I believe that we are vessels of energy.
Okay.
And the more of us they have, the more power they have. So it is literally not just some sort of vendetta that they have against God, which I believe they do that too. We are weapons. We are weapons. We are energy. Think of the city of night. It used to puzzle me. Why was this place there? What does it do? Why does it exist? Because these are human batteries.
Yeah.
And the Shaitan are using these people, and they use us. They use us as vessels to enact their will. It is so much easier to work in this world if you're in the physical. We manipulate things very easily. I can pick up this can. A jinn, a demon, a fae, whatever you want to call them, they can do it too, but it takes a lot more energy for them. That's something that they have to get from living flesh to be in this plane of existence and actually affect it. They burn off of energy. That's the thing. They run off of energy and they burn it off, so that we have to be that battery. We're like batteries. Back in the day, you had a Walkman and it was fun. But once the AA batteries wore off, the fun ended. And you were no longer listening to REM or Coolio or whatever your flavor was. You were just like, this sucks. Now I just have this brick that I'm walking around with, right? Until I can get to a store to buy more batteries. That's what we are. I do believe that.
Something.
Huh?
I said the Matrix was onto something with that concept.
Yeah. And so it's easier for them to inhabit us and use us and just enact their will through us. Thus, the uptick every decade, it becomes more and more prevalent of possession. It's happening in the mosques. It's happening in the churches, the synagogues. It's happening in the temples. Tony's mother is Buddhist. I visited the temple a few years ago. One of the monks there told me that they had several people that were being inundated by spirits. That is another way of saying that they are being possessed. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's like the spirits in a house. If a house has spirits, like people that pass away in it, and they tap into your phones, they use your phones, they'll drain your batteries, they'll drain your smoke detectors, they'll just make electrical stuff pop in your house.
And they will appear to you through your mind. I've had psychics tell me that the spirit will talk to them and say, I can't communicate with this person because I'm blocked.
Mm-hmm.
You can block them like you block people on Facebook. I'm not even joking. You can tune them out. Some people are experts at this. They're just born without any kind of in. But then other people have that in that Abe talks about, the spiritual opening. So they use the negativity to get to you. And these could be spirits that are human, not always born of demon, but evil people become evil spirits, or lost people become lost spirits. And then they have to use a negative to get to you because the positivity is not going to work, right? So they get to you to get negative reaction, which is quick energy. It's like junk food. Negative energy is junk food. Quick. It's sugar, right? That's my point. Anyway, that's all I had to say tonight. Thank you to everybody who jumped on and joined in tonight. And thank you for the encounters and stories and everything. I got to run. I got things I got to do. I got to work.
You guys be safe out there. Work hard, man.
Yeah.
Someone got to work hard.
You got half the country depending on you, while the other half works. The other half is going, I'm being stalked by Abe Scythe over here in the middle of nowhere.
Did you hear that? Mama, no.
Throwing a rock and saying it's Bigfoot, and then, whatever.
Yeah.
Anyways, thank you to the wonderful panel, my buddy Dick Richards. Thank you for jumping on, Paladin. Sage. Thea. Oh man, I realized you were there. Thea, I'm sorry.
That's okay. I just wanted to answer Paladin's when he was talking about his story real quick. I do believe that two people can be under the influence of the sleep paralysis, and I do believe that there was a motive. The motive was they were going towards his friend, and that's why they put him under that sleep paralysis. Now there was something in that room that was restraining that dog from either unaliving that man or possessing, because they can possess you during sleep paralysis. And that dog growling was because it was seeing that thing that was restraining him from actually doing what he was wanting to do. And when Paladin snapped out of that to wake up his friend, that kind of like put a barrier between that spirit wanting to either unalive or take full possession over that man's body. And the reason why I say that they can do possession is because I had one a couple years ago trying to possess my body, and I would see, it was like out of my body, I could actually see myself, my body contorting, fighting against that thing that was trying to take over my body. So that was just, what I wanted to tell Paladin, is like, you actually saved that man's either life or him from, being possessed. So
I don't know if I fixed my audio or not. I hope I did, because I think I might have fixed what was wrong with it.
No, it's still go ahead.
It's still jacked up.
No. Good. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, the long and the short of it, what became of that is shortly thereafter, he had a dream. And he told me that he had a dream that I did something wrong to him. And that house, it had some bad juju on it, I promise. He ended up not being there when I came home from work one day. So I left him a message, and I had already moved to another apartment. Said, hey, I wanted to come by and, play ball with the kids in the street, blah, 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 and hang out, because that's what we did every day. I left him a message, said, hey, I don't have money for a cell phone, because there were still payphones back then, a payphone. And I called him and I said, I left him a message, and and later on he came up to my house and told me, hey, where's my stuff? He thought that I had robbed him, and I had never robbed him. And he falsely accused me. And I told him, someday you're going to find out the truth. So he told me about a dream about that happening. And then it manifested, and we ended up not being friends anymore, because he just kept falsely accusing me. And I prayed about it. I tried to get, I asked for him to be shown truth, and whatever spiritual forces of wickedness were binding him and deceiving him to be lifted. But, it didn't happen. And later on, I saw that house was destroyed by a hailstorm, and all the houses around it were actually unscathed pretty much. But you could drive by that house, and it was just a city, right there in North McAllen. You could see through the windows, like the rafters had fallen inside the house. It was destroyed by hail, and he was living out front in a travel trailer in the driveway. So, wow. And I just prayed about it, Lord. I'm sorry what happened. I know I didn't do any wrong, and I'm falsely accused. I just prayed for my friend, and what could I do? I can't just beg him to see the truth. It's up to him. It's between him and God now. But yeah, thanks for that. I still don't know what the entity was, but I saved him from whatever happened, and hopefully he's okay now. I have no idea what happened to him.
My mother used to tell me, Mija, when you dream of wolves and dogs, you're dreaming with witchcraft, spirits that identify themselves with witchcraft. And you said he was practicing a lot of Satanism, so that could be it.
It wasn't him. It was his brother that lived there before him. He actually professed to be Christian, And I myself at the time was saved. I was saved in 2001. This was around 2006, 2007. But since then, I had backslidden, but I was not practicing witchcraft. I was strongly against what was in the house. I talked to him about it several times on several occasions, said, you need to paint these walls. You need to get this house anointed. You need to get a man of God in here to pray over this house and plead the blood of Jesus over it, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Get this stuff out of here. It doesn't belong here. This is your house. It's not that thing's house.
Well, and one of the problems too is that when you said get a man of God in here, the problem is that you need to treat people, and I always say this, and it's easier said than done. It is hard, but it's not impossible, and it's what you should do, in my opinion. Become the man of God. And what I mean by that is not just saying, oh, go become righteous, whatever. No, what I mean by that is taking charge of your own self, your own life. And when you yourself and all people out there listen to what I'm going to tell you, when you treat a man the way he is, he stays the way he is. But when you treat a man the way that you know that he can become, eventually he can become that. But you have to give him that energy to tell him, look, you are the person that needs to take charge. The sinner's prayer is very important. Pray to Christ that he comes into your heart, saves you from your sin, and anoints you. And then you yourself can do the battle that you need to do without help from everyone else. Being alone is one of the hardest things because these entities like to attack you when you're alone. One of the problems with being, do what?
Divide and conquer.
Divide and conquer, yes. One of the problems with that is being alone. You have no one to help you to tie, bind, and rebuke this. So you have to learn to be alone because a lot of times, especially with me, like my job, I have to be alone. And there's times where, not so much anymore, but, I used to. And now, it's like being alone now is like a luxury. But I had to be alone and I had to face whatever demons or whatever it was in these places that I was working at. They were not going to make it easy on me. And you are not just given to whatever as your own man. You have to make that connection and go back to God where you're supposed to be. And your friend it sounds like he wasn't doing that. And yes, take charge of your own house. But people will often cite that, well, I don't have time to go and find somebody who's a man of God. That's not important. What it is important is you become that person.
It's his house. He should be the spiritual leader of that house. Yeah. And I should appeal to him about his children. Appeal to him about his children too. Like, what about the boys,
Another thing I'm going to say, and this may sound reckless, and some people will tell me that I'm out of my mind, but when something enters into your domicile, the domain, wherever, and I know when you're by yourself, it's really hard, but you have to face it, stand up and command it in the name of Christ. You have to do it.
I'm downstairs where that second story was at, banging on the windows. Come on, Cletus. Come on, Cletus. It wouldn't manifest anymore. But then the guy that lived in the main house, that's the second story I was going to bring up. Maybe if you let me on another show. I really hope I fix that audio problem. But he ended up telling me later on that second story I was going to tell you about that second place that I lived at in West Columbia, he ended up seeing the entity. Is seeing it, catching it, letting it think that he wasn't looking at it, but he had glasses on reading, and he saw it. He got a glimpse of it. Dark 20 years and whatnot. But there's a history about that. That's another long story. I know you got to go right now.
Yeah, I really got to run, man. But hey, guys, thanks for coming on. Thank you for being here tonight, guys. We'll be back on Wednesday.
What's his name, brother Josh?
Who?
From McAllen? Was it McAllen?
Oh, right? Paladin, yeah.
I'll be doing a live show on Spiritual and Cryptid Encounters after this show. You want to jump on and we can talk about it?
Yeah.
But what you were experiencing, if you like.
Sure. What would I look for? What podcast or whatever?
On YouTube, Spiritual and Cryptid Encounters. I'll go off live on Restream.
Okay, so
yeah. Because we're almost from the same location. I'm in Raymondville, so I know about all the things that happen in the Rio Grande Valley.
I got to run, guys.
God bless you all.
Spiritual and Cryptid Encounters with Abe Cius, man. You just look it up. Spiritual and Cryptid Encounters.
Gotcha. 10-4. I live out.
I'll see you guys.
Really.
Good night.
Good night.
All right, guys. I'm gonna run.
Later, brother.
We'll see you. All right, folks, thank you for tuning in. I'm going to play us out of here with the new song. This is the Krampus song. It's the new one that Nelly wrote. There's two of them. Here's this one.
Nicht so ein frohes Weihnachtsfest für all die sich schlecht benehmenden Kinder. Bald in meinem Chor, dann in den Sarg.
It's Christmas time and all seems fine. You spent the year without fear. Misbehaved and mistreated others. He comes for you, sisters and brothers.
Jingle bell time is this well time for Krampus to spend the night. You'll be hiding filled with fright. Your Krampus is punishing delight. Die Zeit der Weihnachtslieder ist eine tolle Zeit für den Krampus, die Nacht zu verbringen. Du wirst dich voller Angst verstecken. Du bist Krampus, strafende Freude.
Lashing his chains and jingling the bell. He's come to take you to hell. Too late to repent, your tears are spent. Krampus comes calling for mercy, you'll be longing. Beaten with branches and sticks, 'cause you chose to play tricks. Joke's on you, you selfish fool. Now what's left is a dreadful man.
Jingle bell time is the swell time for Krampus to spend the night. You'll be hiding filled with fright. Your Krampus is punishing delight. Die Zeit der Weihnachtslieder ist eine tolle Zeit für den Krampus, die Nacht zu verbringen. Du wirst dich voller Angst verstecken. Du bist Krampus, strafende Freude.
Into the basket you'll go, taken in the snow. Tears you'll cry and pain you'll sow. No one can save you, not that anyone should. I wouldn't even if I could. Should have been better, should have behaved. Now you're the one no one can save.
Jingle bell time is the swell time for Krampus to spend the night. You'll be hiding filled with fright. Your Krampus is punishing delight. Die Zeit der Weihnachtslieder ist eine tolle Zeit für den Krampus, die Nacht zu verbringen. Du wirst dich voller Angst verstecken. Du bist Krampus, strafende Freude. Gute Nacht an alle, die gedient haben. Seien sie im kommenden